Greetings, adventurers, and well met. Master of Dungeons here on the Master of Dungeons Twitch channel, twitch.tv/themasterofdungeons. It is Tuesday night, the second Tuesday of May, or I'm sorry, the fourth Tuesday of May. There we go. The fourth Tuesday of May, which means it is time for Vecna, Eve of Ruin. It is our episode 1. We did have a little special last week, if you happened to tune in last Tuesday night for Vecna, Nest of the Eldritch Eye. You got to meet our players, see their characters, and all of that. We're going to reintroduce those characters here in a moment, but first we'll give you a little bit of an idea of what they're playing, their characters. One of their characters is from the Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen adventure that we had played together, and the other 5 characters are from the Call of the Netherdeep. They are all 10th level characters, starting here with Vecna, Eve of Ruin. We are not playing Adventurers League rules. Normally, our group does play a lot of Adventurers League. We play a lot of Adventurers League content for different conventions, virtual D&D weekends, which we just had this past weekend, things like that. But we are going to play some homebrew rules, such like that, to get a little bit more in-depth into the game, have a little bit more fun with it, and see how it goes. So we're going to start off tonight with some interesting stuff. We'll see where it goes. We're just going to wing it and see how it comes out organically to have some fun with it. But let's go ahead and introduce the players and their characters. Go ahead. We'll start at the top and we'll go counterclockwise. So we'll start with, on the left there, we'll start with Agnoth. And Agnoth, go ahead and give us a little bit about your character, a little bit about your past, and then make sure to include the mechanics, race, class, and level, and pronouns for your characters. So Agnoth, take it away.
Hey, Agnoth is a character from Call of the Netherdeep, so Critical Role, World, Exandria, and all of that. He is a gnoll from the Crime Dynasty. Comes from an area called, I think it was Undeath. It's somewhere in the wastes of Shorehas, where they have a bunch of villages that have various critters you wouldn't normally see in, well, let's just say other parts of society. So he is, while he's a gnoll like by flavor, he's the character works as a custom lineage. So I've just tried to approximate a gnoll as best I could through that. And he is an artificer, an armorer, level 10. Basically runs around in a giant robot suit punching things or something kind of like that. It's maybe cutting a few corners there. But yeah, he has spent some time studying the arcane arts, which is not really normal for his kind, but he is a little bit of an odd one out in that regard. And how that brings him to this particular scenario remains to be seen. We'll be getting to that soon, I'm sure.
All right, thank you very much, Agnoth. And next we have Blink.
Okay, Blink, he, him, is also from the Netherdeep campaign. And at any given moment, you'll see 2 Blinks. The first one is a 6'5", almost impossibly muscular variant human, but translucent and gray, because Blink is an Echo Knight from this campaign, from the port city of Rothold. The other copy of Blink, the real Blink, does not look at all like that, because during his travels, Blink came across a hat of disguise, and Blink wants nothing more than to keep Captain Renly safe and assassins be everywhere. So you'll see, in addition to the gray translucent Blink, you'll see whatever Renly describes himself as is a little bit more perfect. Hair waving in slow motion, teeth perfectly straight, the build just proper. Not because Blink is really obsessed with Renly, but he just thinks that much of Renly after Renly has led them through various travails and difficulties in the Netherdeep. Blink takes this job very seriously. No one will get between him and his captain.
All right, thank you very much, Blink. And speaking of which, go ahead, Captain Renly.
No, let's let Blink talk about Renly for another 20 minutes or so. No. Captain Renly is an Aesmar warlock from the Zemnian fields of Western Wyander, also from the Critical Role Call of the Netherdeep campaign. He's a fathomless warlock, so I am very water-based. My hair is always kind of constantly shifting and moving because it looks as though it's underwater. I have kind of like alabaster white skin, and a very statuesque kind of build. For him, he has the use of not only his handy bodyguard Blink, but also his trusty tentacle that he gets to pull out, named Stumpy. That is very fun to play with during the combat scenarios. But yeah, he is here from Call of the Netherdeep. He doesn't know how, doesn't know why yet, but we'll get there.
All right, thank you very much, Renly. And then we have Das. Das?
Hello, Das needs to turn on his mic again.
There we go.
That seems about right way to start off. I will be playing Das. His full name, Dostrin de Bessid. He's better known as Das the Blessed, or more appropriately, at least what he calls Das the Best. Also has many other honorifics he calls himself. He is a Minotaur. He is about 400 pounds, 6'8", over 7 foot once you add the horns in there. He's wearing a gleaming armor of a knight. It has on its breastplate a number of sort of unusual constellations and symbols. He also has a green shield that he has adjusted to look in the style of the 3 orders of the Knights of Solamnia, which he is a member of. He has a big booming voice matching a big booming personality. The confidence in his speech is often accompanied by many accolades. That confidence is in some ways quite earned given his many adventures in the land of Kryn. No, not the Alexandria Kryn, the other Kryn, the Dragonlance Kryn. Although his confidence is perhaps not always quite welcome. He is, he is a paladin, oath of conquest, he, him. And as I mentioned, hailing from a different world from the rest of our colleagues here. So,
all right, thank you very much, Das. And then we have Devana.
Devana is from the Call of the Netherdeep campaign. She is a Twilight cleric and quite obsessed with keeping her team alive. She considers it her sacred duty to keep all these players fit and healthy and alive. She has dark ashen skin, black hair, and she is covered with gold celestial star and constellation tattoos. Every time she goes up a level, more tattoos seem to appear on her. If you ask her where she's from, she will point to the furthest mountain range and say, "From over that mountain," and then look away distractedly. If you talk to her in a maybe over dinner while she's had a few drinks, she will emphatically tell you that no one is chasing her. There is no one after her. Other than that, she is fairly an uncharismatic. She keeps to herself. She's kind of mother henish about her group, and just wants to keep everybody alive and healthy.
All right, thank you, Devana. And then we have Minerva.
Minerva is also from Call of the Netherdeep. She comes from a merchant family in Port Damali. The Moore's Mercantile has been in her family for generations. And she has her own little shop, Moore's Curiosities. So she's the proprietress. She is motivated by finding strange objects and artifacts and does a little trade with them. And she tries to keep a little balance with the various factions and elements of Port Damali. And she goes off and has adventures trying to find more things for her shop. And she met up with this crew, except for DOS, except one time in a flashback, um, uh, on a particular adventure, and as she was looking for more things, and has come to appreciate them, and also likes to helps keep them safe in her own way. She likes to find out information. She is an aberrant mind sorcerer, so she likes to read people's minds, and the powers were given to her by a colleague of her playing around with a cursed artifact, and he's somewhere still out there, um, uh, probably plotting against her because she got the power and he got disfigured. She's also a custom lineage, and her skin is kind of purple. She looks like a Victorian shopkeeper for the most part, and has a fancy ring, and a wand, and a lovely vial around her neck, and a walking stick that sparks when it hits the pavement.
All right, thank you very much, Minerva. All right, everyone, go ahead and begin with inspiration. As a reminder, of course, I do love to use inspiration as a storytelling element, so do not feel you need to hoard it. Make sure that when we are playing, that if you describe really cool things in combat, or you make some great role-playing situations, or you come up with some fantastic ideas, that is a chance for you to get your inspiration back, and possibly even some inspiration for the rest of your group as well. All right, is everyone ready to begin? Vecna has arrived, everyone. All right.
As long as Captain's ready.
All right, Das.
Yes.
You find yourself having defeated Belophaon in the threshold of the heavens, in the city of lost names. The shaking underfoot began as Belophaon fell, and continues. Outside the windows, boulder-sized chunks of the city around you tear free. You see your companions, Senate, and those all scattering about, trying to find a safe exit for your company. And you see parts of the city rising into the air. Beneath them, parts of these boulders and such. Whole districts shudder as mighty forces tug them skyward. Deep in the tower, something cracks. The floor under you begins to slant as the tower begins to slowly lean. Making your way through, powering through, knocking some of the debris aside, leading the charge with your horns for your companions, you find yourselves amid disaster as ragged stone islands and crumbling buildings rise into the sky. Chaos confounds the Dragon Army troops that are throughout the city. You see many of the army's dragon elves dodging stones in the sky while winged draconians race to escape the crackling streets. To the south, violent flames light the sky as at its center, a solid island rises, stone foundations riddled with monstrous dragon bones. The island bearing the bastion of Takesis, an ominous temple, windows alight with otherworldly violet flame. As you watch, the undead dragon you witnessed earlier, ridden by Lord Soth, returns in the two circled this blazing flying citadel. Looking about to try to find an escape, you go to leap from from the landing of the crumbling tower to a nearby boulder. And you're about to land on the boulder, and all of a sudden you see a flash of light. And the next thing you know, you're falling. As your eyes come to and your vision clears, you see water beneath you, a large body of water, and don't have much time to react as the water encompasses you as you fall into the water, trying to make your way back to the surface.
Well, fortunately, despite the fact that I have no idea what just happened, I actually am pretty good at swimming. All those years of being a reaver.
That's true,
So-
being a former pirate. So we'll come back to Das momentarily.
Cool.
Captain Renly, you and your companions, Blink, Davana, Minerva, and Agnoth, have finally made your way through Kale Marrow. The time has come to pass through the collapsed ruins, and having the key, you're now going to be able to access the rift into the Netherdeep. to finally find if you can find and redeem Elixir. Of course, making your way through, being used to traveling through this drowned city in the water swimming from different pocket to different pocket. You do note that the toppled ruins of a palace are strewn all across the cavern floor. You see yellow-green kelp sprouts from the cracks between heaps of crumbled stone, and corroded silver and bronze spires lie bent and broken as schools of iridescent fish swim between them. Amid the ruins of the sunken palace is a gaping rift that pulsates with sickly red light. Black energy swirling with oily colors shimmers and hisses inside the opening of the rift. And glowing spines of ruidium sprout from its edges, forming a jagged, partially intact dome around the space. Now, you do recall many discussions with Blink about the key, always wanting to have the key. And you do note that the ruidium weapon can unlock it, but you also know that around your neck, you do wear the Jewel of the Three Prayers, and that too will open the rift. What would you like to do, Captain Ridley?
Well, it would be quite a shame if we traveled all this way and gathered all these things just to turn back now. So I guess we're going in head first. Blink, I'm sorry, but I think I'm going to lead this one. And kind of bracing myself with the necklace around my neck, I'll do what a fathomless warlock would do. I'll dive right in.
All right, as you open the rift, you see before you the dark and inkiness of the oily swirls in there, and you all begin to make your way into the rift, and suddenly a bright flash of light, and you begin following. You see below you a figure seems to be in the water beneath you as you all begin to fall into a large, massive body of water. Splashing down. It takes a few moments for you to come to your senses, struggling a little bit. Everyone now, including Das, if you would, please go ahead and give me a simple athletics check.
Look out!
Oh, I'm
below.
so good at those.
Yes. Das is the best, starting with a natural 20, his first roll.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
Minerva did pretty well. With her -1.
Can Doss try to catch Devana?
Here's the thing: as you splash down, Das, you look up and you hear some, a few cries of warning, or perhaps maybe fear. Looking up, you see just popping out of nowhere in flashes of brilliant blue and pink and purplish light flashing in the sky, which is overcast. You see more figures, and they fall into the water. You do see 5 of them in total. But after a few moments, you see 3 of them come to the surface. But 2 of them have not. Looking about, Blink, you see yourself, Captain Renly, and Minerva are all accounted for. But Agnoth in his heavy artificer armor, and Devana, your cleric, in her heavy armor as well, seem to be still beneath the waves.
Blink would go directly in after Devana. Sorry, Agnoth.
While Blink immediately dives down, Das and Renly and Minerva, if you wish to do anything as well, go ahead and keep that in mind. But we're going to go to Agnoth real quick. Agnoth, do you want to use any magic or anything like that? What do you want to do in this predicament?
That's a good question. What do I have? I might try to cast haste on myself and just
Okay.
swim faster.
Okay. Go ahead and using the magics, you kind of calm yourself. You've been underwater before. You don't have a problem with it. You've been the past few excursions down into Kale Marrow, having very used to it. So you spend the use of haste, and then go ahead and actually with the magic from the haste, you're able to turn around and look up, and you kind of see the surface, and you see Devana and Blink rushing down in the water, swimming down to grab her, and you're able to make your way to the surface. Unless you would like to assist Blink in grabbing Devana to bring her to the surface.
I think I'll do that.
Okay. But then between the two of you, you're easily able to grab Devana. You do see the familiar sight, Devana, again under the water. Not panicking because you were expecting to be in the water. You just weren't expecting that drop of open air before you entered in. And you're able to get yourselves, all of your companions, with you up to the surface. And you find yourselves floating on a not extremely choppy, but not a calm. What appears to be some sort of sea or ocean.
If Agnoth actually helps bring Devana back up, I of course say that is one impressive dog battle.
You're welcome.
Devana immediately looks around to make sure that no one is injured or hurt.
Does not
and
seem
we-
if anyone's hurt, but there does seem to be a sixth figure with you in the water.
I look over. Do we recognize Doss? It was a long
don't.
time ago.
That to you, that was actually a dream in passing many years ago that you've long since forgotten.
Oh,
You do indeed see that it does appear to be with the snorting and such like that from his snout, swimming very very dexterously and aptly. Does appear to be a minotaur, and with your passive perception being observant, you note that what appears from the sky, but you're not sure what would be east or west and such like that, but you do know off looking to your right. You do note some distance away there does seem to be a shoreline of some sort.
I will say, hello, big fellow. And we all seem to be in the same predicament, but I think there's land that way.
I agree. Let's get out of the water. And there's a quick little ping moment, and a little flash of light happens up in the air again, and almost like a needle falling from the sky. You see a long silver projectile just sort of quickly dip into the water, and then sort of bob up to the surface again, looking like extremely large, what we guess may be like lance of some sort, which Das just like, and swims over, grabs that, seems to be looking around as if like something else would be coming through with it, and then after a moment, since nothing does, sort of looks disappointed and turns back to Devana. It's like, yes, to the shore, little one.
And yes, Das looking up, perhaps maybe expecting your companions to come falling through as well. You do not see any of them.
Careful, Devana. Clearly, this cowboy brought us here. What's your business?
Well,
Business
you
of
would
another
have
deep, is
time
it?
to perhaps chat a little bit, but the waters aren't, like I said, they're not choppy, but they are a little rough. And it might behoove you to swim to the shore and instead of gulping in water as you're trying to converse on the open sea.
Yeah, Minerva's having a little panic attack because she's like having memories of almost drowning before, and
That is
we'll
right.
see her like she'll like feel like that she has her cloak on her and like feel like phew, like I can swim, and thank goodness, but she is kind of like, and so she's looking around for some glowing yellow eyes in the water because that's what she thinks caused.
Would you like to share that with the viewers? Share Minerva's situation?
Well, let's see. Where was that situation? I had it someplace. She in her past, she was on a sea voyage, and their ship was caught in a storm, and she was flung overboard, and so she almost drowned, and she heard an unintelligible voice rumbling around her, and before she lost consciousness, she saw two golden eyes, and then she woke up on the deck, and she had this lovely shagreen cloak wrapped around her, that she doesn't know who saved her or how she got out. She's not that afraid of water anymore, but just being plunged into it like that,
Oh
like
yeah.
choking on it in that way definitely brought a little fear into her, and so yeah, she's like glad that she has her cloak still on, so she's ready to swim because she can.
Okay. And as you're making your way to the shore, Blank, did you want to continue? You can, in between taking breaths, as your swim strokes are taking you closer and closer to the shore. If you wanted to mention something to Renly, or again, as you were talking to your companions, go ahead.
No, I trust Renly and Devon only a little less to deal with this. I'm just staying in between them and this interloper.
Very large interloper as well.
Like what?
The bigger they are, the easier they drown.
I'm not exactly sure that's true, as Das is just swimming to the shore.
So everyone give me a group athletics check. Again,
God.
fairly simple. Actually, you don't have to, Minerva, since you do have your cloak, right? That does give you a swimming speed.
Yeah.
Anyone that has a swimming speed, don't worry about making the athletics check.
Renly does not need to make an athletics check and is very distracted at this point. He's like putting his hand in the water and like tasting it and like, what the hell?
It
And
is salty. It is very salty.
But it's different. And he goes underwater, looks around for a little bit, comes back up and says, what the hell? And then like goes back down under again, comes up, what the hell? And seems very distracted by the body of water that he finds himself
It is
Yes,
even with
it is not the Lucidian Ocean.
yes, even with the passive insight, you can tell this is not the Netherdeep.
And he kind of grasps at his neck, being like, you know, I can't pull it out and blow in the cartridge like, you know, an 8-bit game or anything. But he kind of like, did it not work? What's going on here? But he seems
the jewel is no longer there.
Oh, what?
He gasps.
Where did that go?
Instead, you actually see a necklace of sorts that does contain a number of beads upon it.
I think I went through a wardrobe change when we came in here. Not really well. All right, introductions and everything better be on the shore, I guess, as I get like hit by another big wave that like kind of rocks my body, and I'll say, but Blink, keep an eye on this one.
I'll keep 4 eyes on him, sir.
I didn't know you wore glasses. Oh, right.
But yes, with those athletics checks, you're able to make your way to the shore. Climbing up there onto the beach, you do note that there's a little bit of scrubland nearby. The beach itself fairly sandy, wide, strewn with rubble here and there and rocks. You also do hear the roaring of perhaps maybe a river. Perhaps maybe like leading into the body of water that you just left. As you glance back out from the direction you came, it's just pretty much endless water all the way as far as you can see, and then of course the land behind you.
So I don't suppose any of us recognize this place.
Doesn't look like the Lucidian Ocean.
Not in Bazozan anymore.
Indeed, the lands around you do look a bit strange. But not completely unfamiliar. You notice grass and trees and such like that, very similar to your homelands and things of that nature. But you do find yourselves on the shore. Das, 5 strangers around you. The 5 of you, you see a rather large, tall, hulking minotaur. Glancing down, Das, you also note that the lance that you bear, is no longer a dragon lance.
Huh. What devilry is this?
Items seem to be changing.
Where are my companions? Where did you summon me to?
Easy there, big fella. We didn't necessarily do any summoning of sorts. We didn't do anything, right, Minerva?
No, but I'm looking summoning. That's a good call though. Like maybe we have been summoned here.
Yeah. Let's take it easy. We're all friends until we aren't. But speaking of here, does anybody know where here is?
The beach, sir.
Yes.
Or specifically, Blake.
Devana would be standing back just a little bit,
Okay.
keeping a very keen eye on the group. I have a passive insight of 19.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to hold calm emotions at the ready.
Okay.
Should I see my group getting too agitated or this new stranger getting too agitated? But
Obviously, with your passive insight, you can definitely tell that everyone, obviously, just from the conversations, are a bit on edge and definitely confused.
Oh, Blink has his weapon out, so Devana.
Mhm.
I'm going to be holding that, like, if things just escalate up another titch,
Mhm.
she is ready to cast calm emotions.
Okay.
Minerva starts drying her clothes with precision. She's like, my dress is way too
Priorities.
heavy wet. Yeah, my dress is way too heavy when it's wet. I'm gonna get comfortable first. No, but she is
Hey.
also eyeing the Minotaur. Like, so where are you from? I've seen your kind before.
Hey,
in Port
Nikki,
Tamale.
thank you for the raid, Nikki. Appreciate that very much. Welcome in, Raiders, to our episode 1 of Vecna, Eve of Ruin.
Well, little one, my name is Das the Blessed, or Das the Best. I come from the Isles of Mithas and Kothas on the Blood Sea. However, this is far from where I was just before. I was in the northern wastes near the lands of Kalaman, in the northern reaches of the Salamnic Fields. This does not seem to be that such a place. And you can put your weapon away, new. I'm not about to fight you, unless you are the ones who actually summoned me here and left my companions and the war behind me without my leadership.
I'm like,
The weapon goes away when Captain says it goes away. Until then, you are not to be trusted.
Well, I'm more than a captain in my own right, and I say, put it away.
Whoa. Hey, this isn't like a captain off. Plus, Das the Best. I guess with horns, you gotta have a big head, but come on now. Agnoth, you ever heard of any of the places he said?
No.
All right, he's never heard of any of those places. So, are they made up, or are we from different places here?
Made up? Where are you from?
Well, I'm from Nogvarat in Western Wyander.
Port Tamale.
That sounds like a tongue twister and not an actual place.
Well, you know, that does remind me of a time at a bar I had a little too much trust and tongue twisting. That's neither here nor there, big guy. Listen, we don't know where you're from. You don't know where we're from. But that doesn't mean that we're responsible for us not being from where we're from. Get it?
Das looks slightly confused.
Clearly said, sir.
Thank you, Blink.
And none of us know where we are now.
Actually, Devana, as you kind of scan the horizon to the land, to where the dry land where you came up on the beach and such like that, you do note that there does seem to be a mountain range not far off, and you do notice what appears to be smoke and ash coming from one particular area of the mountain range nearby.
Well, people settle near mountain ranges. I'm from over that mountain range right there, I believe. Look, maybe we should seek civilization, and someone will know where we are.
Yeah, that was going to be my next thing. It's like, yes, we should find people. People have the information. We should ask somebody where we are.
Yes, I cannot delay. Kalaman is in imminent danger, with Lord Thoth preparing to bring his flying citadel to bear with the dragon armies against it. I must return there post-haste, otherwise the defenses will surely be overrun.
All right.
Calamity.
Agnoth has haste. If he gives it to you, will you leave?
Haste doesn't do walking across plains, I'm sorry.
Worth a shot, sir.
I agree with
right.
this gray lady here that it is best to figure out where we are and best way for we can travel home by ship, by land, by air, by whatever method possible.
Okay, listen. Das the Boast. We clearly have you outnumbered. There's no need that, come to fisticuffs here or anything like that. How about we all go into town, we find a gazetteer or a newspaper or a parchment or a, I don't know, talking photograph, something like that. We'll figure out where we are, and we can stick together, and that way you can keep an eye on us and we can keep an eye on you.
Very well. Follow me, fools. And Das will turn and just start walking towards what you
There's-
think is probably the settlement.
There's no reason to call us fools.
Devana looks at the
I
captain
bet
to
Morris.
see if we're gonna follow him or not. She looks at
Yeah,
the
I think-
captain to see what the rest of us are gonna do.
Do we think he's headed in the right direction? Is he following
So-
the river towards the city?
So first, you have not discovered the river yet. You just hear the rushing of one. Perhaps
Oh,
maybe
okay.
like there might be a delta or something where the river is, is a tributary to this large body of water. But Das, where are you heading exactly?
Das knows enough of like sailing and sort of
Yeah.
settlements that typically a river is a good place to sort of follow to find a settlement. So
Sure.
he'll go to the river and then try to walk. If we're at the coast, he'll probably walk up the river.
Okay. So you start making your way down. What is Das's passive perception? Passive 9. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Oh, please. He's very good at labyrinths and directions as a minotaur, but
That's
perception
true.
less so.
Go ahead and take.
Oh
Well,
my!
Oh,
Wow.
I guess you're good.
another natural 20 for Das. All right. You definitely can tell that the river is up the beach from where you're at. So if you look, as you're standing facing the shoreline with the body of water, whatever the sea or ocean behind you, you can hear the river kind of off, a little bit of a distance, but kind of off to your would be to your left.
All right. Das will, as he gets there, stop, pause, sigh, turn around, walk back, and basically relay that information in a slightly nicer tone to the rest of the group about most likely civilization is that way.
Okay.
All right. Well, far be it from me to stop you from being the first one to find the pit.
Well, I mean, sir, Devana lives up there.
Yeah, that's true.
On the other side, I don't know the people on this side.
I think that's a figure of speech, by the way.
Devana looks off distractedly.
With that perception check too, Das, you can definitely tell that whatever that sound of the river is a number of miles away. It's just large enough you can actually hear it, leading into most likely some sort of ocean.
Sure. Well, we best don't want to be here at night without any sort of protection. If we need to be trekking on our way to find civilization, it's best for us to get on our way. Come, my friends. Let us
That's
find.
better. Manners, much better.
Okay, so Das, you head off in that direction. Go ahead and give me a wilderness survival check, as you do note that some of the clouds, the cloudiness above, after a little bit of travel, perhaps maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes or so might have passed, and the sky starts to clear a bit, and you can actually see the sun a little bit. If you're walking in this direction, a little bit to your left in the sky.
Is that just for me, or is that for the group?
For anyone, yes. Anyone that wishes to make a survival check, feel free.
I'm not moving until Captain does.
Is Ridley and the rest of the group heading with Das?
If Friendly was headed that way, I will. But yeah.
Yeah,
And if
I
that's
think
the-
the.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Das.
I was just gonna say that check. If it's about directions, his labyrinth and recall actually gives him an advantage,
Mm-hmm.
which means it's another natural 20.
Yep.
I was just going to say, it's like, I'll say, like, yeah, we can go, don't worry. And then kind of my, like, little bit of a smirk will fade, and I'll say, I'll be right behind you, just tying my shoe. And I'll look back at the water nervously and extend my hand and make sure that I can still cast an Eldritch blast, which I call Hadal's Ichor, and seeing it blast open across the water will have like a huge sigh of relief and say, "Okay, on we go."
All right. So then, Das, you can definitely tell now, with again another natural 20, that you're heading in a northern direction.
All right. And none of
At
this seems
least,
at all
le-
familiar.
at least
in any
from where you're used to being, with the sun rising in the east and setting to the west, as you travel.
Okay.
And as you travel for another, perhaps maybe half hour, it's about an hour total in your journey, you do start to see and spot out on the water specks in the distance, and you also note as they get closer, being that you were once a sailor yourself, note that they are ships. And cresting, you see that the land in front of you kind of cuts a little bit to the west, following it around. And as you come, some more trees up along the ridges and such like that, and you come around the corner and you start to see the walls of a fairly massive city.
Aha!
Ah,
Look, my friends. Civilization.
that's good.
But not as I know it.
Do we see any flags on the ships? Sort of trots over to look out to see if he can, probably too far, but see if he can see any flags either on the ships or on the parapets of the town that might be indicate what province. Is he still in Solamnia? Where is he?
You do note that, do you have any way to, like, do you have like a spyglass or anything of that nature on you?
I do not think I do. No.
Oh, doesn't Devana have something? You have like Eyes of the Eagle or something like that, right?
I do. I can see, believe, 500 feet very clearly. Checking that.
Eyes of the Eagle?
Yes.
Eyes of the Eagle. Yeah,
Search
she's
that in the compendium.
That's a lot of feet.
I think it's actually more than that, actually.
It doesn't actually say a distance. I will post it. I will just.
Yeah, it just says you can, in conditions of clear visibility, which, as I mentioned, there's no like fog or any sort of rain or anything like that. The clouds have cleared up. You can see details even extremely distant. You do note that some of the ships are flying flags, but they are not recognizable at all. And as you come across up to near the walls come in view of the city nearby. Some of the do have banners hanging from the outside of the walls, and you do not recognize what the um, flags would represent. They're completely foreign to you.
I share that with the group. I don't recognize any of those colors. Well, I mean, I recognize the colors. You know, they're blue and red, but I don't recognize the combinations as being a nation.
Yep.
Where the hell are we?
Well, not in Wildmount. I mean, I know
Seem not.
this city is on a west coast, right? Is that what we've?
It does appear to be on the west coast. I can let you know that the banner that flies on the city walls does have a bluish gray background to it. And there does appear to be some sort of symbols that remind you of snowflakes. Actually, in three of them encircled. Each one of them individually encircled.
I will even draw what I can make out to the group, knowing that they can't make it out as clearly at this distance.
Well, we're definitely not on the Menagerie Coast, because I know that's also a west coast. I know that coastline.
No, and those waters are not familiar. I don't.
No.
Agnoth, you're a smart guy. What do you make of this?
Well, it's not Othadern. It's not anything I know of.
Well,
Okay, big fella. You don't recognize these colors either, right?
No, sir.
That's good, Blink. That's good. That's good. Thank you. Das?
No,
Is
I
it?
do not.
Right. Okay. Well, to keep with the let's keep the nautical theme going. It seems like we're all in the same boat, and then you'll gesture back to Blink figuratively, and then realizing he probably doesn't know what figuratively means. Anyway, we're all in the same situation.
And when
So,
you, real quick, just another description, Devada, when you had seen the mountain range, from the directions that your companions have kind of figured out, the mountain range you could see is kind of off in a north by northeasterly direction beyond this city. And as you come across this, even from this distance, you can see that the black smoke seems to be coming from an erupting volcano.
So, how
It doesn't
much
seem
do
to be
a,
necessarily erupting so much as lava still flowing down it. Go ahead, Minerva.
let's just say, like, how much? I mean, we know that there are other worlds, right? Or would we suspect that? Other planes? We've kind of already gone into different places, right?
Minerva, Devana, Renly, Blink, and Agnoth have really been nowhere other than you're expecting to go to a different plane by perhaps entering into the Nether Deep,
Mm-hmm.
which you thought might have been a different plane, but the majority of your experiences have been basically in Exandria,
Yeah, that's crazy talk.
continent of Wildmount.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always discussions that the gods live in other planes of existence and such like that. I mean, you are magical by nature, you and Ridley and Agnoth,
Right.
with a bit of the arcane.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, would our the arcane stuff, or even Minerva's background with like trading with people, because she trades with people who from all over that come into the port, and so I'm
Mhm.
feeling like she would even come into contact with people that maybe possibly weren't from the world that kind of ended up in the Menagerie
Well-
Coast, because it's a very So that's what I was wondering.
Are you wanting to make a check or anything of that nature? Is that what you're
Sure,
asking for?
I'm sure. I mean, I'm most willing to do that.
Oh yeah, so if you want to give me an Arcana check or a History check, your choice, you could do so. Agnoth, if you're skilled with that as well, you and Minerva can chat about it as you're chatting to maybe give inspiration for that if you want assistance. Well, both individual rolls with an 18 and 19. You definitely have a feeling from the looks of it. It doesn't appear. It definitely appears to be perhaps maybe an alternate prime material plane. It doesn't appear to be, it might be somewhere else in your world, but it's a possibility that it could be somewhere else. It might be somewhere that you haven't explored in your realm. It might be somewhere that where Das is from, this place he calls Ansalon or Kryn, wherever he seems to be from. You know that the Kryn dynasty is something completely different. He does not look like someone from the Kryn dynasty in any way.
Not at all. Not at all.
It might be a possibility that when you entered through the rifts, tried to enter the Nether Deep, that it might have sported you elsewhere. Which, with that Arcana check, it also might make sense, depending on what Das was doing when he was transported here. There might have been, because there was powerful magics and the ruidium around you all when you entered into that rift. That something might have caused the magic to go awry, and perhaps maybe Das, perhaps maybe speak with him about how or what he was doing before he was transported, where he was, what was happening. If he's willing to share that, it might give you a bit more insight to that.
Well, Minerva knows all about magic going awry.
Yes.
That's how she got her power. So she's like, oh yeah, something weird happened. So yeah, she's definitely So yeah, realizing like, hey, yeah, we were kind of going to this place that might have transported us. She's like, excuse me, sir. She says to us, what were you doing right before you got here? Because I know we were definitely playing with something that might have gone a little haywire.
Well, moments before this all happened, I slayed the great worm Belafea, striking him down in the fabled ancient city of Onyari. Upon his death, the city began to fall apart. This is one of those ancient magic cities of the distant realm of Istar, a very magical and powerful land that had floating cities. In fact, as we left, the entire city broke apart with pieces of it floating into the air, powered by ancient magic.
That sounds like Aor.
Yeah, it's there's definitely a parallel with that of ancient magic messing with us.
And yes, as you surmising from that, Minerva, it definitely is probable that some sort of magical thing might have sported Das here as well. Where it is has yet to be seen.
Yeah, and whether it was on purpose or accident, you know, that is also an interesting notion.
Minerva, Agnoth, you're saying that whatever we tried, essentially we had the key, we put it in the door, we tried to go through the door took us to a different place than where we wanted to go. And Das, you're saying something similar happened to you. So it seems like none of this is really any of our fault. But we need to figure out how to fix it.
Oh, Blink needs an insight check on Das there. It's Das's fault.
Feel free, Blink, to make an insight check if you wish.
A city that size must
Yeah,
surely have a
exactly.
library or something.
With a 5 on your insight check, I mean, you can take it as you wish.
I knew it.
I don't want to be here any more than you do. Why?
Devani
all right.
still ready with calm emotions.
No problem. Yeah,
Ready with calm
kind of
emotions.
walking down the beach. It's been a little while, perhaps maybe a couple of hours of traveling down the sandy beach, making your way around. You've seen these city walls. You've discussed about it. Everyone's a little, just a bit on edge, a little heightened sensitivity. Kind of perhaps maybe under each other's breaths, you hear, a few things you probably wouldn't say normally in other situations. Definitely more calmer situations, but it is a little heavy wearing on yourselves as as the city does come into view. You do note also that there does seem to be the edge of the walls do come up into what you can tell is a bay, and you note that the river itself flows out of the city and into the bay, where you see and the noise and the rushing that you were hearing is actually a kind of coming around to get a kind of a glimpse at it. You do see a harbor in there and a number of different dams and such like that are churning, kind of controlling the river as the river comes through. And you can see that the river seems to split the city down the middle and flow into the bay. And you see numerous ships in the port as well. We see a floating arm right over Blink's head.
You still owe me a song later, sir.
Oh, I'll try and keep our views good, and I won't start singing. No. All right, Das. Bear with me, if you will. Bowl with me, if you will. Little joke. Sorry.
Dots' eyes narrow very unamusedly.
Okay. All right. Okay. Just we're testing the water. We're figuring it out. We're
But you do happen to notice where you're standing, though, Rinley. There are a number of smaller fishing boats that are pulled up on the banks nearby, and you see people that might not be very well off, unfolding and folding up different fishing nets and such like that.
Das, you're going to try and figure out where this is and how to get home. We're going to try and figure out where this is and how to get home. Seems foolish for us to go our separate ways and try and figure that out as opposed to pooling resources and information, right?
Fair.
Yes.
Devana, you happen to note that the groups of fishermen that were folding their nets kind of look back, and a couple of them, with your passive perception, are looking at you and your companions.
They've noticed us. Should we go talk to them?
Oh, we probably
That's-
should.
I think it's best to ask what city that is over there.
Devana smiles and waves at them, but she will wait for the captain to approach.
All right, and that noise does mean that we have an ad break coming up here in a few minutes, so we're going to go ahead and take a small break. For those watching, go ahead and stretch your legs, grab some beverages, refresh your snacks, things like that. Use the restroom if need be, and we will see you on the other side of the ad break, so please stick around. We'll be back in a few. right, we're back here, just waiting for some of the players to come back from the break. We've got our people on camera back, so that's good. Hope everyone watching's enjoying it so far. Unfortunately, I apologize if we have any new followers or anything like that. My mini feed, there was an update for Streamlabs today. My mini feed is still not working, so I'm gonna tick it in. Hopefully, we'll figure that out here in the next couple of weeks before our next. Actually, our next stream will be tomorrow night for our Walk Amongst the Plains with some Magic the Gathering Arena, and then we'll be back. We'll be off Thursday and Friday, and we'll be back, of course, for our episode 21 of Fandelver and Below the Shattered Obelisk on Sunday. I think our next session for this is Tuesday, June 11th, correct? I think that's what I have on the calendar.
Redley takes care of my calendar, sir.
I have to take care of your calendar and your gold? Come on, man.
Devana thought Minerva took care of everyone's calendars.
No, sure. Always put the calendar on someone who hasn't come back yet.
But yeah, there you go. It's good strategy.
She was going to drop these natural 20s as soon as we enter combat. Ah, that's a possibility, Critter. That is a possibility.
I'm still wondering how Devana doesn't know where we are since this is home.
Devana appreciates that Blink thinks that.
What does Blink do when he's confused? I mean, you've just got to be so used to it.
I don't know what confused means.
There you go.
But we can continue on, and once they get back, as Devana, you were the one that did note that the figures were had kind of taken their eyes off of their fishing nets and such like that, and looked at a motley crew of adventurers chatting with one another on the beach.
So I've pointed out to the group that they've noticed us. I think we're kind of making a scene, but maybe we want to take advantage of that. And I kind of look towards the captain, as Devana would never approach and talk to strangers on her.
Okay.
Yes. So if we're all in agreement to work together here, then I'm going to go and see if I can find out some information. Hello, dear fisher people, fisher people. Pardon me, we're wondering if you could tell us a little bit about this dear city over the hill here.
They kind of look you up and down a little bit, kind of glancing down at their clothes and glancing at the different fashion of which you're dressed, obviously being from a different realm. And they're like, you seem to be lost. What can we do for you again? As they kind of shake away, looking at your different outfits and such.
I'm not lost at all. I'm right here. I just don't know where here is. If you could help with that.
They kind of point back behind them as the walls are right there, near where their small little beach is. They're like, what's the grand city of Neverwinter?
Neverwinter, of course. That's exactly what I was thinking, just making sure I have my patience correct and, had to sleep one off a little bit. Now, you're fishermen out of Neverwinter, yes? That's quite the trade in that city.
Well, we don't work for the cost or anything of that nature. I mean, the city has its own boats, and the merchants have their larger vessels, but we're from the lower part of the city, and we have to fend for ourselves.
Right.
We've got all the right papers. We've got all our
Oh,
proper
of
papers.
course. No, I'm not here to inspect that. No. I'm not part of the higher city. I guess not the castle. The castle. Who would be in charge there?
They kind of
Devana flicks her tail out and casts guidance on Renly.
okay. They are looking at strangely, but go ahead and give me a persuasion check, Renly.
Absolutely.
Ooh,
Wow.
32.
Yeah, we're good. Nice.
They kind of look at you a bit strange at first. Of course, it's like, well, of course, Lord the Galt's never ember.
Lord de Galt. Well, I didn't vote for him. No, I know it's a beautiful coat, but sorry, my eyes are up here. Yes, Lord de Galt. Fair-minded, tough but fair. That's what I've heard. Yes.
Yes, of course.
Hmm.
Where be you from?
Where am I from? Oh, well, this morning we were down on the beach just having a lovely picnic. But I think that I must have pressing business with Lord de Galt and never winter. Yes. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Hope the fish are biting.
They
turn around.
You see them kind of glance back to one another, glance to your group, and they look down at their nets. They don't really have any poles or anything like that, but they kind of shrug and go back to folding their nets and preparing to head out.
I'll come back.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Minerva. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I wait till you come back. No.
I come back and I kind of in a much more hushed tone say, right, okay, apparently the name of the city is Neverwinter. And I look to Das, Agnoth, and Minerva being like, we still on a no blips on our radar kind of a thing with the name of that city?
Yeah, all right. Still no blips, right?
Everyone give me a intelligence check or a wisdom check.
Not history, just intelligence.
Correct, yes.
Blink declines. He's still focused on this picnic he missed.
Yeah, intelligence. There we go, Agnoth.
Silly question, but how do I roll that from roll 20?
Just where wisdom is on the word.
Open your character sheet, and then it should just be able. Yeah.
Yeah, it was I was clicking on the numbers and it wasn't clicking. Click on the word. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Agnoth and Devana got it.
Agnoth. Oddly enough, somewhere in the back of your mind, you recall hearing of the city of Neverwinter. How you know, you have no clue. You have no idea. But somewhere heard of this city before. Devana, you actually have a brief recollection years ago, when you were traveling to Bozazan, for perhaps maybe through the wastes, the Zoros wastes, and you had bed down to camp for the night, and you had a very, very strange dream. That you can almost place yourself in the city, but you can't really recall that dream fully.
Do I remember Das from that dream at all?
No, you do not.
Okay. I whisper to Renly, probably the rest of the group hear my whisper. I had a dream of this place. I don't know that tells us where we are, but I don't feel like we're dreaming right now.
Honestly, I don't know if that bodes ill or well.
Me neither.
I pinch Blink.
I was waiting for Blink to pitch someone because I'm not sure if they were awake yet or not. So
Devana beat me to it. Wait, what?
It seems as though this city, Neverwinter, which maybe we dreamed, who knows, maybe this was created from our dreamscape. I don't really know, but apparently it's a big enough city to where it's split into like a lower city and a higher city. There's a castle. There's a Lord de Galt, but I'm guessing that any lord in a city is in need of people who maybe have some of our skill set. What if we look for some trading of information, or Minerva, if you spot any shops of a certain ilk, maybe you can
Yep.
work your wiles and find out any information there. Agnath, I don't know what you can make out of this city that comes from a dream. Can you maybe focus on finding out if it's real or some kind of fabrication?
I could look for a library.
Yes, I was also going to suggest that maybe we can get a map of the region, and that might help us.
Fantastic idea.
Yes. I mean, I've always found going into new lands, maps are quite handy.
Especially when you have literally no clue where you are on that map.
Yes, exactly. And yeah.
All right, and our newest friend, Das, do
Yes.
you agree with this plan?
Very well.
Hey, Lucy, how's it going? How many bits to summon Tiamat to tap pants on their skulls?
Speaking of Tiamat, or whoever this Degalt Neverember is, needs to be warned of the Dragon Queen's armies. No matter where we are on Ansalon or similar places, they will not be safe for long. So he must be warned of the dangers that come.
Devana nods like anything Doss said just made sense, but she just nods and wants him to feel part of the group.
Das will add it to the list. And an extensive list it seems it will be.
Okay. So you do note that
sir?
the walls of the city itself actually extend from where these fishermen were, kind of on the beach, getting ready with their nets and such, getting ready to push off. You do notice that they've already started, kind of going out into the bay around. But you look to the east, and you note down the way that there does indeed appear to be some sort of map. Or some sort of gate. I was looking.
Gate.
There's a gate.
I was like,
yes.
There's a map of a gate.
Big "You are here" sign.
yeah.
The trial maps, I have it.
Where's the food court?
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, now how detailed of a map is it? Is there like market, library, or is it just literally an outline?
No, there was no map. My apologies. There was a gate.
Oh, right.
To the east. Yes, there was a gate.
Sorry, I had a blink moment there.
I was looking at the map, and I had a blink moment and said map, but no, there was the gate to the east.
He
Yes.
rubbed off on you. Probably
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah. Right. Well. Nothing says welcome to a new city like a whole bunch of wet strangers. Shall we?
I'm mostly dry.
Well, I can dry some more people out if somebody would like some help.
Yeah, Devana would have already gone to Minerva for prestidigitation.
Yes. She gets her blue blow dryer out.
I guess Blink is just going to walk up with Runley saying "welcome" over and over because that's what he said.
Well, I mean, we could see how this goes. No. Blink. When we meet strangers, you know how we sometimes let Minerva or myself do the talking? Because...
Because, yes.
Sometimes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That might be... But, Blink, this is a strange new land. Who knows what dangers could befall us? I need you to stay close and make sure no one's sneaking up us. So keep an eye out, okay?
All right, the echo is out right behind you. I'm right in front of you.
And I'll
Scanning
say
for threats.
say to the group, I'll like, that'll keep him busy.
Yeah, right.
Devana suggests to Blink that maybe he shouldn't look like the captain right now because that might confuse people.
Okay.
But I'm people, it doesn't confuse me.
But yeah,
But you just said you don't know what
That would be
confused
a
means.
first.
Oh. All right, I'll look like Devana.
excellent. Devana approves.
Okay, so do you want to approach the gate?
Minerva, you care
Yes.
to take this one?
Well, yeah, let's approach the gate. I'm wondering if we need any kind of special papers. Anyway, I'll have it at the ready if we do.
Whoever of our group moves out first, Devana or Minerva or Renly, I will tap with my tail and cast guidance on them. Whoever
Okay.
moves out first.
Sure. And as you approach the gate, you do see a number of wagons and carts coming in and out. A couple of them, like some caravans here and there, kind of parked off to the side and such. You see again some guards at the gate, not really bothering too many people coming through. There doesn't seem to be any sort of tax or any fee to enter the city from this area here. And as you approach, you do note that you get a few glances here and there because of your dress, just a little off sorts as you're looking about, seeing the dress of the people around, not a similar style to what most of you are wearing. But of course, you do appear to be adventurers, and they don't seem to really give you a second glance. Not so much as the fishermen who had actually were watching kind of your discussion and confusion there near the beach.
Minerva's used to being eccentric. I think we just walk in like we own the place. I mean, that's always a good way to do. And yes, I'm like wonder. I'm gonna like figure out when I'm gonna like cast detect thought. That's my. But let me know if you see a target that maybe I should read their mind. If people can help me with that.
Okay, so you are able to enter into the city, and you did note one of the first places you wanted to look for was maybe some sort of library or some sort of um, like bazaar or something where you might be able to pick up maps of the area.
Yeah, yeah.
If you want, as you're walking, taking in the sights of this rather large city. If you want, you can perhaps maybe pick up a little bit of information as you're traveling through. So if everyone would, go ahead and give me a perception check.
Everyone or just Minerva?
Everyone. This is everyone kind of walking through as you make your way through the gate unaccosted.
My perception check, I think the gate is a map.
Excellent. So we have 18 from Agnoth, 15 Minerva, and a 25, natural 20 from Devana. A few things you pick up. You do kind of get the gist, Agnoth, that the city is on the Sword Coast, is what they call this region. And the body of water from which you plucked yourselves out of is called the Sea of Swords. Devana, you figure out that as they're talking about it's a little brisk outside from the wind and such like that, but it's actually a fairly mild temperature-wise. And you note that they had mentioned the volcano, Mount Hutenau, has since it erupted, it kind of keeps the region fairly warm. Hence the city being called Neverwinter. And Minerva, you do note that there are a number of what appear to be temples as you pass through different areas of the city looking for a bazaar, which you do finally come to a bazaar. But you do not recognize any of the flags or symbology of any of the um, temples, assuming that they're temples to deities. But you really don't, you have no recognition of any of the symbology of the temples.
Well, not the gods we're used to, I think. Or whatever they have these temples to.
Such was the case back where I lived, and there were many false gods painted about various cities. All were swept away before when the old gods became new and returned again. Most likely, these effigies are simply more of the same.
So these aren't the gods you're looking for?
Yeah. Das goes and wanders up to one of the temples and is like, "Hello, can I tell you about our good Lord and Savior, Kiri Jolith?" Probably promptly has the door slammed in his face.
Devana would have tapped him with guidance when she saw him approaching and talking about religion.
Needless to say, Das is not impressed by these gods and thinks that they are all fake, much to his probable chagrin as he uncovers the truth.
Effigies just has Blink going H-I-J, trying to get the rest of the alphabet down.
Minerva's not much of a worshiper, but, tosses a coin to in the Temple of Avandra every once in a while. Lady Luck and all.
Agnoth, you're going to go to the library, you said, yes?
That's the plan.
Trying to search for one, of course, yes.
I was wondering if you could do me a bit of a favor while you're there. And I will remove my necklace and hand it over to him. It's like, this is obviously not the same bit of jewelry that I had on when we left, but it seems to have changed for some reason. I was wondering if you could maybe take a look at it and figure out what it is.
I don't have a spell to do that, but I can always see what I can find out.
I caution though, because I don't know if it's still magical, if it's no longer magic, if it is magic, is it good magic, is it bad magic?
Oh.
I don't know. So
I can see if it's magic. I have a wand. I don't necessarily want to throw it out in front of everyone, but if I could do it, discreetly, I would give it a little tap and see if it's at least magic.
Actually, Minerva, even with your passive perception of 11, you do see people using minor magics here and there, cantrips and such like that. So you don't think it would be and as I mentioned before, looking around, you do happen to find a bazaar, and you do note also, as you kind of make it to this bazaar, Agnoth, as you were looking for some sort of library, you don't necessarily really find a library so much as you find what appears to be some sort of temple that does seem to bear scrolls and such like that on the symbology outside of it and such. And when you see that, what do you do?
I stop and point towards it. That might be what we're looking for.
Everyone, when Agnoth points to that, please go ahead and give me a religion check.
Oh, I'm so good at it.
Cleric. But let me try.
How is Minerva rolling the best on that one?
There you go.
Devana, I guess you are that kind of cleric.
Today, I'm that kind of cleric.
Devana, yet again, you kind of falter in your steps as you're kind of looking around the bazaar. Agnoth points that out, and you see the symbol up there. And again, your mind starts to reel a bit as you recall seeing the symbology that was on that temple. Again, a flash of this dream coming back. But in that dream, you happen to see the face of Das
Ooh.
that seems to be engaged with some sort of foul undead creature. And you also see a dwarf dressed in roguish clothing as well, very, very close to what appears to be some sort of altar that bared that symbology on it as well, that symbol as well. And one name comes to your mind. Ogma.
I quickly lean in and relay all this to Renly in a whisper loud enough that the rest can hear. And I will glance down and see I have an extra ring on my hand that I've never known what it was for.
Mm-hmm.
But I always just kept it. And I look over to see if Renly has that matching pair of my extra warding bond paired rings. I check out Doss's hand.
Das?
I don't think I out of character. I don't think I had one of the warding bonds on me. Did I?
We did in the one shot.
Oh,
one-
oh, we did. Oh, well then okay.
She cast it on someone else,
would
but
you
she gave you a ring.
this random ring
She
on
did
your
got-
on your
Gave
hand
you a
is
ring,
like-
yes.
Got
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So you would not see it on my hand now,
Okay.
but you.
Good to know. Interesting to know. Because I have kept that mystery ring on my hand. But I am very attached to Warding Bond, so we will see.
Yeah, that warding bond really helped keep Blink alive. That's for sure.
Yep. So I look to see if Doss is maybe is he that person in the dream?
He looks a lot larger, more muscular. He wasn't wearing the ornate plate armor that he wears now. He did not bear a lance. The lance he carries now is very ornate, but you seem to look at it. You do recall, especially with your observant feet, you do recall him looking at it very oddly. He just seemed to kind of shrug it off when you crawled out of the ocean. But he seems to be very focused on what's happening at the moment and really hasn't given much of a second glance since then. But yeah, that's what you recall, and name Ogma coming from that temple.
I will whisper all this very loudly, a loud stage whisper to Renly.
Okay.
Does that name trigger anything?
Since you're whispering to everyone else, give me an insight check with advantage. Renly, no.
I think that's my third natural one of the evening.
We had advantage, so it was 11.
I thought you were playing Renly, not W.
I know, right? I imported the wrong character. My bad.
Das came into your life, and he brought W's luck with him. However, Das, Minerva, Blink, and Agnoth even, you have a flash. Again, you haven't thought about it in a number of years. You had bedded down for the night, and you had discussed it briefly. Started kind of coming back to you. Discussed it briefly the next morning after your long rest, preparing to take the steps up in Bazazan. Betrayer, I believe, was Betrayer's End. I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And you recall that morning discussing the dream. You thought it might have something to do with the proximity of everything that had happened during the cataclysm that your lands had befell, and all the magics that remained around there. And Das, you actually, when you hear Devana mention that, you do vaguely recall you had asked your companions when you woke up about it, woke up yourself, and none of them knew what you were talking about. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Looking around, Tallulah had no idea what you were speaking about. She, even pulled out her instruments and started examining you and looking around and couldn't find out what was going on. But it was very, very vivid at the time. But you kind of put it out of your mind, but you do start to have some sort of recollection of it. Agnoth, however, you remember when your companions were talking about the dream, you kind of had an idea what they were speaking about. You kind of remembered certain things about the situation, but you don't feel that you were yourself. It was almost like you were another person when you were experiencing this. From like you know how sometimes you have a dream and you know that you think that it's you, but then you blink and the next thing you know that you're actually someone else in the dream, or someone that you know is in the dream, and then the next thing you know that they're a different person. That's kind of the feeling you get.
Right.
And Devana will start fidgeting with her extra warding bond ring.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how observant Das is.
Not
but
very. He's got a passive of
Yeah.
9. He's got a passive perception of 9.
Yeah, never mind. So he might not notice that, Blink has a matching set with Devana, Agnoth has a matching set with Devana, and Devana has a third mystery one that she never knew who went with. And I wonder just if Das woke up with a random ring someday that he's tucked away in a pouch or a bag somewhere, that maybe he'll realize is a matching set with Devana's warding bond rings.
Mhm.
Do you ask Das that?
I will. Yes, I will. I will very shyly approach Das and show him, because all of my rings are very distinctive, like
Mhm.
they're matching pairs, and ask him if he's ever seen a ring like my mystery, the ring that I have that doesn't have a match. And they've got very intricate carvings on them that are all unique and different.
Mhm. Dawson's head sort of like tilts to the side for a moment and he's looking at it and says, "It seems familiar, but," and sort of looking around, he goes and reaches inside a bag that he has on his like sort of just belt that seems to be, he like sticks his entire arm all the way down deep into the bag, is rustling around for like almost seems like a minute, and comes out and says, "But it's familiar, but I don't have one."
Well, if keep thinking on it. You seem very familiar to me in a dream-like way.
You do
And this
too.
ring
And
came to
this
me in a
ring,
dream. So, maybe we have a bond.
here it
But
is.
look for that ring, she says.
All the while this is happening, Renly, you have no idea what your companions are talking about. They all seem to be. You're just kind of wondering the bizarre. You do find a table of
How bizarre.
a person that is selling maps. A number of scroll cases on the table with different maps labeled here and there. Some of them, kind of stretched out over some easels and such like that of the region.
Ah, hello, fair merchant. I was wondering very much if I could purchase one of your maps, or perhaps several of them. What all we got here?
And he kind of looks at you. Well, what would you like to have a map of? We have a map of course, the region around Neverwinter.
Well, yeah. If Minerva knows it all, she wants one of the Sword Coast
Well, first,
and of the city.
this is
Yeah.
again still you and your
Yeah.
companion is still discussing the dream, kind of
Okay.
since
Okay.
really rolled a 1 and an 11 for his advantage check. He's kind of like,
well-
okay, whatever.
Minerva still has that eye. I mean, whether she has it on her or it's in her
Uh-huh.
shop, she has the eye. So anyway,
Yeah. But yeah, actually, if you want to, Minerva, you can wander over there, kind of, because it's kind of more Devana and Das kind of speaking about it with Agnoth, because Agnoth again has the idea of remembering it, but not from his perspective. Almost has like a lower perspective, like you kind of see them, but of course you as a gnoll are pretty close. Not exactly, obviously, exactly the height of Das, especially with his horns, but you would see the vision um, from a very lower perspective. Das seemed much, from what you can recall, from a much larger, from that almost vision dream-like scenario that you kind of recall. But yeah, you can discover that there's a map of the Sword Coast region of Neverwinter. It does show Neverwinter on the Neverwinter River and the river coming through and going out into the Sword Coast, into the Sea of Swords. It does note that the river does wind from the crags, a mountain range and some hills where Mount Hotenau is. That does flow through the woods surrounding it, known as the Neverwinter Wood.
Cool.
And there's
Fantastic. Yes, I love the Sword Coast. Yes, my favorite coast. Always wanted a map of it. What say, good merchant? How much do I owe you for the lot here?
He does actually have a couple larger maps. The smaller map is only like maybe 2 gold. You do note that there does seem to be an arrow pointing to the north, perhaps north of the city of Neverwinter. There's a town or city or region or someplace known as Luskan. And then there's also a place, an arrow pointing to the south along this road, noted as the High Road, that follows along the Sword Coast, and to the south, that kind of winds around the north side of a bog. That then you see it says to Waterdeep.
Yeah.
That's interesting. They call it the High Road, but it goes low. Get it south. Anyway, a little map joke for you. Right. I would like these. Here's 3 gold for you for your excellent map making and selling skills. Thank you so very much. And I will hold the scrolls up to people and kind of gesture to hey, come take a look.
Okay.
We don't want to give off that super tourist vibe. We definitely need to take a look and see if we can recognize anything on these maps.
Maybe we need to go sit down someplace and
Have a drink.
Have a drink.
There's a tavern over there, sir. I'd like my allowance, please.
And
so, right.
Did you happen to pick up a city map? One that just shows all the different areas of this particular city too. So
I treated it like a buffet, Minerva. I said one of everything.
Okay, great.
So you got
Mitch,
the
how much
map of the stars?
Yeah. This house used to be owned by Lord. No, anyway. How much total gold? 2 total gold for all the maps?
3, yeah, 3's fine.
And I'll say now, Blink, I'm going to give you some gold.
Hold tight. As you pass the gold over to the merchant,
you might go what?
He looks at the coins. This isn't modern Davian currency, nor this from Luskan or Neverwinter. Where are you from? I've never even seen this as far south as Baldur's Gate.
No, that's what it's. I'm from Luxan, that town on the. There it is, that one right there, up the big one starts with the L. Luskan. Yes, that's what they spend there. It's all the rage now. They're in the forefront of currency trends.
Give me a persuasion check with disadvantage.
Oh. Because of the way I said it, I feel like if I said it more convincingly.
He is a merchant, and they do regular trade.
Convincing to me, sir.
Up and down the Sword Coast.
With Tavana's insight, would she be noting that Renly would need guidance at this point?
Not at this moment, since you and Das and Agnoth, because Agnoth is kind of looking over towards the temple still. As mentioned, trying to find some sort of place to gain some knowledge. Blink was asking for some coin, seeing a tavern, and didn't necessarily note this. So at 13,
no, I mean,
go ahead, Blink.
13 with
I
disadvantage.
was just going to
that's not
say,
bad.
Blink, since Blink looks like Divana, he's swishing his illusory tail as bad as he can to try to give guidance, because maybe it'll work.
You did note that, again, a couple strange glances, but not second glances. Just happening to note they're twin, elven-looking creatures. But looking about, you do note that there do appear to be a number of all different sorts of humanoids in the bazaar as well. Some of them do have tails as well. Some of them sprouting some different horns, things of that nature. You do see different elves, dwarves, and such like that. Some halflings here and there as well. So you really don't stand out. And again, in this large bazaar, you do also note that there are a couple of maybe a handful of different groups of adventurers also plying and trading here and there, different wares that they might have found out in their journeys and such like that. But so you don't really necessarily stand out much. But with that persuasion check, Renly, he kind of bites on the gold coins, and you see him does pull out a balance.
Oh,
And
dear.
it does.
It is still gold,
It does exactly. So he does put the gold up onto the balance with another piece of gold, and it weighs out correctly. And he's like, "Okay, fair enough." But
No,
Very
this is how it
interesting.
happens. Luskin is using this currency now. In the next 6-7 months, I'm sure it'll be down here in Neverwinter. But they're just at the forefront of new currency.
oh, well, if you wish, I might exchange some of mine for yours, if that's the case.
That would be splendid.
I don't have much, but come back towards the close of the bazaar, and we'll see what we can do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And your name?
Marcus.
Marcus, thank you so much. Appreciate that, and we shall return once we finish our errands and tasks and miscellanea that we have to get to. Thank you so much.
All right, and so you have the maps, and Agnoth sees the temple. In the common tongue, it does say House of Knowledge engraved in the temple's entrance.
Well, that's a good sign.
I guess we already knew we could speak the language.
That's good, though. Can you imagine the troubles we'd be running into if we didn't speak the language here?
Right.
Goodness. Minerva, you were going to give a little tappity tap tap with your wand?
Oh yes, of your. Should we find? We're going to go into the
tavern,
temple.
A house
Yeah.
of knowledge. We need to. We have a couple of things on the list, but my, am I parched?
Okay, so let's tap. I'll tap. Do detect magic on the necklace there.
It is indeed magical.
And do I know what kind?
It radiates. Give me 1 second. Radiates a little bit different source of magic. Some of it does appear. It does appear to radiate some enchantment, obviously. There also does seem to be a little bit of abjuration in there as well. And each one of the beads themselves actually have some sort of different schools of magic tied to each one of the beads on the necklace itself.
So each of the beads has a different type of magic. There's some abjuration, some enchantment. I guess we need to, at some point, find a way to identify it. I think if you maybe you know, like other items, or maybe if you wear it for a while, you'll find out a little bit more.
Do either Minerva or Agnoth have a sense of what an item with this many different schools of magic might be?
You can give me an Arcana check if you'd like to.
Can Renly get in on that?
If you want to. Definitely seems to be perhaps maybe a necklace of prayer beads.
They can vary. I know these necklaces can have different combinations, but usually they're quite handy.
You don't put necklaces on your hand.
Ah, hero, this is true. That would be a bracelet, wouldn't it?
That's what I mean.
And you also
know
do
what?
note, Minerva, that it does bear an overall sense of some sort of transmutation as well.
Ooh, and transmutation.
Not normally one for prayer, but like I'll lean in a little bit to the group. I'm like, but I'm very fond of the necklace that I was wearing, and the comments that it would grant me from onlookers, that was very powerful and moving, and I would be oh so disappointed if this necklace had none of those abilities. Well, I guess that's one thing sorted, but we still need beverages and time to sit and look through, find out some of this knowledge, maybe pour over these maps.
Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering.
Blink moves to stop people from pouring the beverages on the maps.
That's probably better to not smear the ink.
Blink, here's 25 gold for your allowance.
Oh, whoa. Is there a casino nearby? Watch out.
No. This is a new tavern, so Blink's going up there and buying not only drinks, but he wants to keep the mugs, kind of like a Starbucks You Were There collection series, because it's a new city.
As you approach the tavern, it's on the opposite side of the bazaar from the temple itself. You do note the outside of the sign on the outside does bear some sort of mask, and indeed the mask is kind of a relief off of the sign itself, and it does seem to be made of some sort of like gem or precious gem of some sort, perhaps made of moonstone.
Is there a name of the
Oh
tavern?
yes, it's called the Moonstone Mask.
Lovely.
It does, as you kind of approach it, the building itself is about 5 stories tall. You do note that the first floor, they do have some of the windows and such open to where there's like a small little outside terraced area, and there's a massive hearth inside the first floor that does seem to be a rather large dining room. And a fairly large grand staircase on the inside as well. So while you're heading over there, Agnoth, any further decisions for the temple?
I don't particularly want to split the party, but the Temple of Ogma does seem to be a good place to get more information about our current predicament. I guess it just depends what Renly wants to do.
Well, why don't we just go one then two? Let's get a drink. Agnoth, I'm sure you could wet your whistle here, and we can look at these maps, which is the first bit of information that we're going to pour over, and then we'll maybe go all to the temple together, because I agree that sticking together is of paramount importance at the moment.
Especially since we're so new here.
Now that you mention it, I am a bit hungry.
And
Yeah,
that is true. You were deposited in the ocean in the Sea of Swords that you know is now called the Sea of Swords. You did have to swim to the shore and you have been walking most of the day. I mean, Minerva has tidied everyone up with prestidigitation and such like that, so you're not walking around in wet clothes. You're not necessarily dirty or anything of that nature, and maybe a bit peckish.
Yeah, I mean, swimming always makes you hungry.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
My thought also being that the more we we are with the moves, at least we have some of the lingo of the surrounding area, and we can maybe blend in a little while looking for other information. If we can know, like, oh, this city and reference this place or this town or this road, that might just help us blend in a little bit better.
Yeah,
Sure.
exactly. And while we're sitting in there, I can kind of ping around different minds of the folks in the tavern, just to
Oh,
get some
well-
other kind of local information.
So as you approach the tavern to head inside, you do note that there is a hostess standing at a little um, podium just outside the places. You do see that people are coming around, getting towards evening, as you did note that the sun was kind of starting to head in a westerly direction, kind of getting it's probably been another hour or two wandering around the city, getting yourselves down to the bazaar, and it is getting close to a dinner time. And there is a figure standing there behind a little podium, checking people in. You do note that she does have a moonstone trimmed mask on that she is wearing,
Ooh.
and she is wearing a semi sheer black gown. She says, "How many in your party?"
There's 5 of us, right? Unless, well, we don't have to. 6?
As you say five, she kind of glances over. Devana, you notice with her passive, and kind of looks to the large figure of Das behind you.
Oh, yes.
What's with the big guy?
Yep. I'm so used to being a party of 5.
Theme song kicks in.
Right, exactly.
I thought the exact same thing. She says, "Oh yes, 6. Okay, well, please follow me." And you do note she picks up some scroll cases, 5 scroll cases, and she does pick up some. Grab a small basket and puts those scroll cases in the basket, and then also picks up some cloth that does seem to have some utensils in them, puts them into the basket, and ushers you inside. As you enter inside, you do note, of course, that there's the first floor is a dining room lit by a huge hearth. There is a bar off to the side. You do note that people in here definitely does not seem to be, it's probably maybe upper middle class, lower upper class people in this area. And most of the booths and such do have private curtains to draw close. There are open tables as well, and she does lead you over to an open table by this rather large hearth. And does note that there are also a grand staircase that heads up, and you can kind of look up, and you can see that there are a number of levels, as I mentioned, like 2 or 3 levels above. But you do note that you really don't hear much sound coming from them, even though the area above you is open. And I also would note that we are getting ready to have an ad break coming up here very shortly. So let's go ahead. Do you want to sit at a booth, or do you want to sit at a table?
Table. Das is very big.
Yes,
to try
I
to
was
squeeze
saying
in.
Das will not fit in a booth.
Okay,
Yep.
so she'll set you down at the table, and she will hand you the scroll cases, which is just a pull out that you can pull out for a menu for there, and she will set down some utensils and napkins for everyone. And when we come back on the other side of the ad break, we will pick up at your table at the Moonstone Mask. So everyone stick around. We'll be back in a few.
Back.
Looks like we have a puppy dog. We saw Blink's little puppy dog running around there a little bit. Welcome back, everyone.
Hello.
Today was kind of crazy. I obviously talked to you about in Discord, but for our viewers, the Vecna Eve of Ruin actually released today. Big Dungeon Energy, hello. Is that a Westie? Is that a Westie? Savannah.
He's a wheaten-colored Scotty.
Wheaten colored Scotty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, today Eve of Ruin came out. I was expecting it to come out around 11 or noon. It came out at 1. I was putting the room together. As I have mentioned on our Dungeons and Deliberation stream a lot, when I go through and prep for rooms, I like to have the room as a base, and then I create a copy for the game room. Obviously, I had to create a copy of that today. And then the Roll20 went down for like 20 minutes, half hour in the middle of doing all this, and I was a little frazzled today, but finally got it all together and got the players in with their characters. Luckily, we had created their characters in a training room to help the players out. Some of them not necessarily very familiar with Roll20, but we're working through that. So if anyone has questions while they're watching too, of course, we do have Ask the DM in our some of our hashtags, as well as Roll20 help, things like that. So feel free to ask questions. And feel free to ask questions of the players while we're playing. They can perhaps maybe respond to in chat as well. But since we are back, you are sitting down at a table. The hostess again hands you out all of your utensils and napkins, cloth napkins, and she does give you the menu. And she says that her name is Mrielra Chantry as your hostess. And if you need anything, she'll be at the hostess stand. But of course, your server will be along to take care of you shortly. And with that, she smiles, gives you a particularly beautiful smile underneath the moonstone trimmed mask, and heads back to the entrance. And you find yourselves, all 6 of you, at the table with the maps in tow that you purchased from the bazaar. And what would you like to do? Wonderful.
Well, I'm going to open the menu before I look at the maps.
Sure.
Sure.
You notice a number of things on the menu. It does seem that, like, kind of in like embroidered lettering around there. There's something called something called dainty fish skewers.
Mm-hmm.
There's they do seem to have a lot of singular hot pies. Some of them made with boar and veal, bacon and kidney. There's some seafood ones as well. There's also some chicken liver pies as well. The dainty fish skewers are described as 20 little fish that are called silver flashes that are dipped in herb butter and sizzled over a flame until they're fairly crunchy. There's some mussel and basil soup, some different chowders, turtle soup, some octopus broth, as well as mushrooms doused in a herb and garlic sauce. You note that on the menu also there's some scallions and fennel soaked in parsley and mint chicken broth. For desserts, there also seem to be some blackberry and apple pies, topped with cream and sliced almonds, some palm-sized gooseberries that are imported in, and then some almond tarts, as well as a few chocolates and strawberries as well, with some chocolate coating on the outside. And for those of you looking to drink, there's a number of different wines listed. Many of the quality wines are about 6 gold pieces a glass. There's also Dwarven Fire wine for 9 gold a glass, as well as some something known as Elverquist, that it seems to be fairly expensive, which is about 20 gold. Then, of course, if you just prefer a pint of like an ale or cider, they're only 4 copper apiece.
Do some of these things might sound familiar to the team? Do all of these things sound familiar to the team?
The ingredients do.
Okay.
There is, however, the most expensive thing on the menu is a rare delicacy that none of you have ever heard of, but it's called a spider egg souffle, and it is 50 gold for a serving.
That sounds lovely. Minerva's not sure if it's sacrilege or really attractive to eat octopus raw. She's like trying to decide.
Right.
Devana will look over at Minerva and said, "Do you want to split this one? Should we both maybe try this souffle?"
Oh, I love to do to share everything at a table. You get to try so many more things than if you just get your own individual dish.
I think
I
we
love
should.
that.
I think we should try that one, as the 10 eels are feeling pretty flush with gold, I think.
Yeah, and Renly, you didn't have any problem with them taking our gold when you bought the maps, did you?
No, gold is gold. They seemed to think it was a little different, a little odd, but they got there in the end. Also,
Well-
the map merchants said that we could return to them at the end of the day and exchange some of our wild money, which I said is from Luskin,
Okay.
for
Alright.
some of their more common money, which again I think will go a long way in helping us blend in, which I think is one of the main goals at the moment. But I would like to share 0 of the spider egg souffle. I'll be getting a nice soup and want nothing to do with the spider egg souffle.
For the viewers just joining us, we are playing, of course, Vecna Eve of Ruin. This is episode 1, and our characters are actually not from the Forgotten Realms. We have Das, our paladin, is actually from Ancelon and Dragonlance, from the Dragonlance Shadow of the Spider Queen. Dragon Queen.
Spider Queen.
You just said Spider Egg Soup. Shadow of the Dragon Queen adventure. And then the other characters, Blink, Captain Renly, Devana, Agnoth, and Minerva, are actually from the Call of the Netherdeep campaign that we ran with them as a group. And their characters found themselves in various parts of their campaign, a flash of light, and they all were deposited in the Sea of Swords, and they have just made their way to Neverwinter and trying to make sense of how, why, and where they are.
Devana
Gosh,
will
what I
look
wouldn't
over.
give for a trust.
Devana will look over at Doss and say, "Does any of this sound good to you? Do you have coin that they seem to accept here? I mean, we can make sure that you have food and drink."
Dawson sort of looking over the menu, just sort of puts it aside and says, "The oath in the measure indicates that a knight of Salamnia does not partake in extravagant feasts unnecessarily. I will have a soup and simple meal, and I can pay for myself." And you see he pulls out the bag again, and you hear the clinking of coins, and he plucks out and puts on the table a large mound of what appear to be coins made out of steel.
You're fun, aren't you, Das?
Well, this
I wonder if they take that here.
I'm sure they do. It's more precious than gold.
Well,
really.
Is it?
Is it?
Agnoth is going to pick one up and sort of just look it over and try to work out what kind of metal it is.
It is pure steel. It actually is a bit heavy. Not as heavy as their gold, because gold is fairly heavy itself. But it definitely weighs very similar to like an electrum piece almost. And they are just a bit larger than your gold coins. You did note, Renly, that your gold coins, the weight of them were about the same size as the coin that the map merchant had used. But the coins that Das have are definitely made of steel. Seems like they were a little bit more time took in the minting of them. Actually, as they have ridges on the edges of them and such like that.
Agnoth returns the steel coin to the pile and shrugs. Well, good luck, I guess.
But yes, we appreciate you asking, Devana. I will get something. I will get some light fare. I need some more strength before we figure out how we get back out of here again, and I can get home.
Of course, we all need our strength.
So you do have the maps there too. Yeah, go ahead.
Speaking of here, and Renly will roll out the first map, and I think he'll want to try and start with like the most local and work their way from a Neverwinter map to like zoom out.
Mm-hmm.
for however
Okay.
many maps we have to kind of grow familiar with the area.
So as you kind of roll that out, one of the first things that happens is you kind of notice, Devon, I'm always going to come back to you with your high passive perception of 24. Let me see who else. Agnoth's got a 15, which is pretty good as well. I think, and then really has a 10. Okay, so it's going to be pretty much Agnoth and Devana for passives at least. Kind of glancing about as Renly's pulling out the maps and such, rolling them out. Glancing about, you note that all of the servers in this establishment all do seem to be feminine.
Yeah.
All of them seem to be wearing these moonstone trimmed masks, as well as wearing very similar black semi-sheer gowns. And then you note, kind of glancing back every once in a while, even the bartender seems to be feminine as well. And then every once in a while, you see the swinging doors to the kitchen open up, and looking back there, you see the majority of the people in the kitchen are masculine. And occasionally you do see some of the men coming out and setting down like baskets of bread and such like that. And one does come out and set some small plates on your table. Says, your server will be with you shortly. Can I get you some water? He says. And he sets down a couple of baskets of bread.
Oh, please. Yes, please. Are you getting other drinks too, or just water?
No, again, your server, she's a bit busy at the moment, but she'll be
Okay.
here shortly. My apologies. My apologies.
No, water would be wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for the bread.
So go ahead, Ridley.
Okay, so looks like this is the map of the city Neverwinter. I don't know what we can make from it, but sorry, realizing Blink is at the table. Not what we can make of it, but what we can learn from it.
Making airplane out of the napkins over here.
Yeah, you're gonna try and make me a trike or a bicorn hat just out of the map. So like that's the first one that I'll spread out there. Again, I don't know how detailed the map gets. Is it just essentially a, you know, for a D&D reference, is it like the player version where there's nothing on the map, or
There's things
the DM
labeled.
version?
No, there's things labeled on the map as well. Again, I didn't have a whole bunch of time to get a map in here. I will have one definitely by June 11th, next time we play. But the Sword Coast map, you do note that last I mentioned the region here. It shows Neverwinter Wood. It shows the crags. It shows an area called the, I believe the, one second. The Sword Mountains to the south as well. There, the bog that the high road comes through a small little town that looks like the high road comes through a small town called Leilon, and goes around this little bog marshy area known as the Mayor of Dead Men. A little ominous. You also note that there's a small village known as Fandalen near there. It also notes a place known as Port Last. And of course, the Neverwinter Wood, which is fairly large, that does surround the mountain range and the hills of the crags nearby to the north of that, with Mount Hotenau there. As you heard traveling through the city, is the source of the reason why it's called Neverwinter, because it's always fairly warm in the region.
I think the more things that I see on this map that mean nothing to me, that trigger no memory response or anything like that. Renly's looking over it, shaking his head and raising his eyebrows. We are not simply in a city I've not heard of, or on a coast we have not heard of. I have not heard of, and I'll like maybe making sure to whisper attention so only the table people can hear. I have not heard of anything on these maps. This means that, as odd as it may sound, Minerva, I think you said it earlier, it's like, it seems like we're on a completely different world.
Oh, Lucy, thank you for the bits. My apologies, I didn't see that. My mini feed is kind of on a little broken up there. My apologies. Thank you for the bits. Very much appreciated. Oh, go ahead. My apologies, guys.
Yeah. Nothing is familiar. I mean, stuff is familiar: food, cities, merchants, but
At the very best, this is a continent we've somehow never heard of at all.
Uh,
Probably a different world.
Yeah, and as you look at a couple of the other regional maps, you only end up getting 3 of them. One, obviously, a rough map of the city itself. It does have a number of different wards. You do note that the place where the leader of this place that you've heard of, that was called Lord de Galt Neverember, resides at Castle Never. And the region itself is known as the Sword Coast region. And that's the third map you got, was a little bit larger area map from the more localized area about Neverwinter and its surroundings. You do note that this region, this continent, is actually called Faerun.
so one thing that Minerva would like to do while she's sitting there now is she'd like to cast detect thoughts, and I guess for the whole minute I can kind of just scan surface thoughts of different people, like for a few minutes. So like I want to start with like one of the waitresses, and kind of like maybe go to a table of affluent people, just to kind of get a gist of what people are thinking. Don't you like? I have. There's challenges for the DM as well.
The first thing you notice is you get nothing from any of the servers.
Ooh.
None of the staff at all. And barely get any sort of information from the other patrons inside. Give me an Arcana check, if you would, Minerva.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yes.
19.
Beautiful. There's some sort of magics at play in this establishment.
That is interesting. I let my. So you know how sometimes I can listen in? There's something here that protects everyone from people listening to thoughts. Fascinating.
For those
that's
watching,
another thing.
the staff of the Moonstone Mask, all of the staff members wear magical amulets that protect them against mind reading and mind controlling magic.
I love it. It's so perfect for Minerva to come in and like get a stone wall. It's just like, oh, so like, I want one of those. I want something like that.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
actually, Minerva, give me an insight check with advantage on that.
Only 16.
Nice, a 16. This establishment definitely seems to be a place that, obviously, it's a renowned fest hall. You can see that there are people up above you, but again, as I mentioned before, you couldn't really hear the noise from up above because it's kind of open up above, and you can see, 2 or 3 floors up, and there's still people up there. There's like more of a tavern feel type to the top there. But it definitely seems as if this is a place that people come to, that's very, perhaps maybe even very known for not, what happens at the Moonstone Mask kind of
Just
stays
stays
there.
it's
Exactly. Yeah.
confidentiality. It's like,
And with you as a fence, you know what I mean, with your criminal backgrounds and such like that, it's a place that
that type of stuff would happen. No, she's definitely taking note. It's like, oh, for future, this would be a good place to meet clients.
and a fortunate place for you all, considering you don't know where you're at and what's going on, for you to be able to, perhaps maybe discuss sorts of things.
Right.
Secrets seem to be safe at the Mask.
Secrets are safe here. I let everyone know. So whatever that means.
While our secrets are safe, we can't learn any of the other ones.
Well, I guess we'll just have to make conversation or something. Maybe
Yes.
Maybe we'll have to visit the bar at some
On
point.
that note, your server does come out and says, greetings,
Oh, great.
greetings all. My name is Elsa. I'm your server. First, can I start everyone with a round of drinks? And she looks about,
Yes.
again, wearing a moonstone bordered mask as well.
Yeah, I'll take a house red.
Ah, excellent. And she marks that down. You see, she pulls out a quill and starts to mark things down. And
You mentioned some more exotic, expensive drinks.
yes, we do have some dwarven fire wine and some elverquist.
Devana will take a dwarven fire wine.
Ah,
She's a little
yes.
freaked out, needs something to calm her nerves.
She does note before she jots it down. Says, "I did want to ask. Apologies. Would you be liking a bill for the evening, or were you planning on having a room for the night? If
And
so, I
actually
can. Of course, I can charge your meals to your room.
And that is exactly was one of my questions. Was this a place where we could find secure lodging? Yeah. So I look around. So what do you think? Should we, since it is nightfall, and instead of looking around later, should we just stay here for the evening?
Take the chance while we've got it. Yeah.
Devana's nodding her head vigorously, but also looking at Renly, as she will do whatever the captain wishes.
You're right.
So is other
So
Devana.
And as everyone's kind of doing that, you
Right.
see that that Elsa kind of picks up on that, and then she kind of looks to Renly.
Yes. Do you have a room that will accommodate all of us, or do we need 6 different rooms?
Well, if you wish to bunk up together, I guess, but most people prefer a companion. But of course, if you would prefer, to let you know that each room, 2 of you can stay to a room apiece, I guess. They are 16 gold a night. But that does include stabling services as well as food and drink.
Oh,
Yes, I believe 3 rooms it shall be then. That's, let's see, 32 plus 16, that's 8. Let's call it 50, shall we?
She kind of counts, calculates in her head. Says, of course.
Devana will lean over to Agnoth and say, do you mind sleeping with Das? If you mind, you could sleep with Minerva instead.
oh,
But
Devon, really?
Do you
Well,
have a
I'm just making
particular
sure that
plan?
Devana assumes she will sleep with Minerva.
Right.
Blink will sleep
You
with
know that
Captain.
the Blake and Captain's going to be the same room, right?
Right. Well, I
That's
just,
that's not even negotiable.
Yeah,
Well,
but I didn't want to assume that that Agnoth was okay sleeping with Doss. So I'm trying to figure out if Agnoth is okay.
Oh, I thought you were maneuvering so you could sleep with Doss. That's
No,
what
I'm trying to make. I actually sort of remember Doss from this dream, so I am
Yeah.
not opposed to getting to know Doss. Minerva's very reserved, but she's not opposed. She assumes she'll sleep with Minerva, but she's
Yeah.
not. She wants to make sure
Yeah.
Agnoth is comfortable sleeping with a stranger.
I mean, if Captain wants it, Blink can be with Das because he just needs to keep eye on this.
While this entire conversation is going on, Doss is basically just searching into his bag, finding a different coin and putting out a platinum piece and says, "I will take my own room. Thank you."
And even though we are mature audiences for our thing, let's go ahead and go with room share instead of sleeping with.
Yes, room share.
No.
Crazy.
He's a minotaur after all.
Devana's only concern
Don't
was
make me go into Greek
Agnoth's
mythology.
comfort level.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think this is all covered under the original 16. She said stabling, right?
No, a room is 16 gold. That includes stabling services and food and drink. Now, keep in mind the drink that they speak of is
there you go.
Is the house.
it's either a mug of ale, or a pint of ale or cider, or just a plain wine. If you want any of the good quality wine, that's extra. Each meal is the price of 10 gold, but that is included in your room. But if you want any of the other wines or any of the specific, more expensive meals like the spider egg souffle or anything of that nature,
Right.
that would be in addition to the room.
Sir, do I still have the allowance that you gave me?
I didn't take
Yeah.
it back.
All right, I will hand over the entire allowance just so I can keep the mug. I'm assuming it's some sort of fancy water Davian thing I've never seen before. I have to add to my collection.
And she's still taking everybody's drink orders.
Well, you gotta have
Well,
mugs set.
I just want the mug. It's a ceramic, a Viking mead horn. I don't care. I want my souvenir.
Okay, sure.
Minerva totally understands the desire for souvenirs.
True. So whoever wants to pay if you want to pay for the rooms, or if you want to split the cost, whatever, each room is 16 gold.
Okay.
Doss, she does
I-
look at your platinum piece and kind of looks to Captain again.
I took it all out of my gold. I'll look to Das and say, I'm not in charge of your sleeping arrangements. You do as you wish. And I'll say, and this is why he's on an allowance. And then I'll look and say, make that 4 rooms. This one will pay. And I'd like an ale. I'd like it sweet, and I'd like it dark if those things are possible.
Of course.
Thank you.
Yes. So she says she'll come right back with your drinks, and then when you're ready, she'll take your food orders as well. And she kind of nods to everyone and smiles at Captain and heads off. So you're there at the tables by yourself yet again.
All right. Well, now that we have rooms, we'll have more time to ponder.
I think we lost somebody.
Hello?
Yeah, I saw Divana.
Oh, it's Savannah.
It's all right. I'm disguised as Donna.
I'm Divana now. Look at me. I'm
Yes,
the captain and Divana.
Unfortunately, yes. Sometimes she might have actually had to reboot because she was having
Also,
issues.
never
with her
mind.
camera.
It's all on her tab then.
Well, I believe everyone has enough coin. Obviously, we're going to have to. That is one of the things you'll have to figure out for DOS, as the platinum that DOS has will still work, but though you have to figure out some way to figure out what to do with his steel coins.
Yeah, he has
A lot of them.
3,000 gold pieces worth of steel, which
Let's just see here.
How did Senate let you keep all those?
good old bag of holding. Unless the Senate wanted to dive head first into this thing.
Fair point.
Okay. Well, even without Divana here, I think we can. Have we gotten? I think I've gotten what we're going to get out of the maps for right now. Right?
For now, yes. I mean, looking at the maps, it gives you an idea of where you're at. At least let you know that the continent that you're on is Faerun.
Sir, if I
can
can make a suggestion, sir.
Always.
And I point to the water. If we just go here and swim down, that's where the door was that got us here.
Well, what if, Blink, the door is very, very far, and you require air to breathe, right? So what if you can't hold your breath long enough to get to the door?
We send the Minotaur first.
Well, he needs air to... You need air to breathe, right, Das?
Yes, that is a necessity.
I don't know where you're from. Who knows? But yeah, I can't say what to do anymore. I'm not the captain. It's Devana. Devana's the captain.
Well, she is back. As we mentioned earlier, there we go. She did might have had to reboot because might have been having some issues there. So it's all good. She's back.
Musical chairs.
And everyone's back in
Sorry
place.
about that. My computer just crashed on me. Sorry about that.
No, that's totally fine.
No
That's
problem.
totally fine. By the way, while you were gone, Captain Renly said since Devana's gone, the tab's on her. Just kidding. No, he
roll
actually
best
he
saves.
did say that.
You ratted me out. No, I'll say that, like, honestly, Blink, I don't know enough to say that you're wrong. Maybe the door home is at the bottom of the water. Not all of us can breathe water, because Renly actually can. But I think we should maybe find out a few more facts before we try that. Is that okay?
Whatever you say, sir. Good enough for me.
All right. Well, we have someplace to stay. We're going to have food and drink in our bellies shortly. After this, Temple of Knowledge?
Temple of Knowledge.
Okay.
So be it. Where is that ale?
And just as you ask, you turn around and you see Elsa coming back with a tray, and she does set down the drink that everyone ordered. The wine, the red wine. I'm assuming you're ordering the quality wine, Minerva?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so that would be 6 gold there. Just if
Okay.
you order just a pint of ale or cider or just a regular quality wine, that is included in your meal or in your lodgings, I should say. If you wanted some fire wine, that's 9 gold. And then if you wanted the Elverquist, which something perhaps you might not even know exactly what it is, obviously, is 20 gold, if you're interested in that as well.
Blink has ordered nothing, but to Renly's lack of surprise, he takes the first sip and bite of every bit of Renly's food.
Devana will share the Dwarven wine with Blink.
Okay. And then, of course, your meal is all included. As long as you're not ordering the spider egg souffle, your meal is also included with the dessert as part of your lodgings as well.
Well, Devana and Minerva are splitting a spider.
Okay.
souffle.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So that'll be 25 gold each, or 50 gold, whoever wants to pay for that.
Yeah, yeah. We'll just split it, and yeah, and then she's getting, in addition, she'll get. She wants to try the octopus soup.
Now,
I think-
even though you cannot detect thoughts and surface thoughts, Minerva, you all can still make perception checks to perhaps hear a little bit of what people are conversing about.
All right.
If Minerva looks like she's straining to listen, like Devana is sensitive enough that she'd kind of pick up on if Minerva is giving off signals that she's
Yeah.
trying to listen.
Might want to share.
Devana will give her guidance.
Might want to share a little bit more of that fire wine with Blake. I'm just teasing. Oh yeah.
My personal fire wine, yes.
Feel free, everyone, go ahead and feel free to give me. If you want to roll investigation instead, you can do so. Perhaps maybe not just listening,
Ooh.
but using your eyesight to look around to see what's going on, things of that nature.
Well, I would take the same roll, but if it was investigation, it would be plus 4 more
Okay.
for mine.
So 17 there. 24 from Agnoth. Nice. 21 from Devana. Sweet. You pick up normal conversations here and there, although they are a bit muffled. Just perhaps maybe something about what Minerva had mentioned about the magic that seems to be permeating the area, which is something a little strange considering Das, even where you're from, you did have the mages of high sorcery and such like that. You didn't go to a tavern, and there weren't these types of things in any of the cities that you went to. Even Kalaman didn't have things of this nature. Even throughout most of Wildmount, from where the rest of you are from, you didn't have regular places where magic was used in a tavern. even though it's a 5-star, a 5-story or 5-star establishment. Very, very something you've never really experienced. So perhaps maybe this realm does seem to be high in magic.
Well, and Minerva wants to take it back because of the business she does back at home. She's like, oh, now I know about this.
Yeah.
We'll see what we can do.
But you do.
Maybe
Go ahead.
go ahead. I was gonna say maybe Agnoth can help her develop something since he's good at creating magic items.
One of the things that you do hear is there's some rumblings and discussions that rumors have been kind of flowing through the town about different nobles that and prominent citizens have been disappearing. Also, that in addition to Neverwinter, their normal guard, that Lord Neverember also is looking to hire adventurers to help supplement the town guard itself.
That
Well,
might be a way for us to make ends meet while we try to find out what's going on here.
Yep.
it's great news. What better position to be in to need to find answers than your job is asking questions and trying to find things out. It's like a cover story for what exactly we need to do.
Das,
What Captain said.
do me a favor,
Exactly.
Das. Give me a perception check with advantage.
Not sure how much that can help, but we'll see. Okay. 18.
You see a draconian walk into the place.
Yes. Okay. I was waiting for this moment.
Real quick.
Yeah.
The rest of you, Devana, Minerva, Renly, Agdoth, Link, you see a dragonborn walk into the Moonstone Mask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You then see within
And a dragon. Sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, yes.
I just wanted to clarify. Dragonborn are kind of normal to us as opposed to
Yeah.
Dust.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
With Devana's passive perception of 24, does she clock any particular reaction from
That's what I was
Doss
gonna say.
to this fight?
Yeah, we
reaction.
like-
Doss flips over the
You're
table.
definitely going to see reaction when Das does that. Exactly.
Yeah,
No,
that's
don't
hard to
look at
miss.
food.
Flipping over the table is hard to miss.
Don't eat. Not my
Doing?
souffle.
I think Blink even noticed that.
The spider egg souffle arrives just in time to go careening across.
No.
through the air.
Can we make a
Food has
dexterity check to try to save
Yep.
the
food has
souffle?
food has not been delivered yet. You just got your drinks. You
Okay.
put your food
Mage
orders
hand. Mage hand. Anyway, sorry. The tentacle goes flying out to catch object. Sorry.
Okay, so Das, as you see that, the rest of the party, you see, reacting in a flash. If you want to make dexterity saving throws for me, everyone but Das, go ahead and give me a dexterity saving throw.
Yeah, we'd
Sounds-
like to try to stop this craziness. That's not a good way to start.
Me either.
Yeah, so your drinks spill all upon you. The bread, the maps fly onto the floor as well as Das turns the table up. Das, what do you do as well in addition to flipping the table up?
All right. Immediately drawing sword, pointing it directly at the draconian, as I see it, and just saying, prepare to die.
Devana
Face
cast
the creature.
Yeah.
Calm Emotions.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you
Sorry,
all.
what was that, Savannah?
Go ahead, Devana.
Devana casts Calm Emotions.
Okay, let's go ahead and just do this for the fun of it.
Sure.
Let's go ahead and pull up the turn order. I'm going to go ahead and add a round tracker in there.
Okay.
And then everyone go ahead and select your tokens. And we are on our splash screen still, but let's go ahead and switch over real quick to our combat just in case something happens. Oh, DOS, look at that. Another natural 20 for DOS.
Just funny initiative. Not really the time we need it. But
Okay, so let me go ahead and, oops, let me take that out of there. We don't need those in there.
I mean, Devana, you're the key person to beat my initiative.
I did. Well, I matched it. I imagine your
Ignore
dex might be higher than Devana's.
No, mine's an 8, so that's actually the 19 accounts for that.
Yeah, my dex is 10, so I go first.
Yeah.
Yay!
So one second, we put Devana in there. And we'll sort the initiative. And with your quick response, Devana, and you're obviously probably because you were passive, you do note as soon as the table flips over, everyone gets kind of splashed with their drinks, and Das pulls his sword and says something to a dragonborn that walks into the establishment and seems to be aggressive towards that person. What do you do?
I cast Calm Emotions.
All right, go ahead and pop calm emotions up for us in the Roll20 chat.
Looking for it.
If you go to your spells tab, you have like your core bio spells, the little gear icon. And then you should
There
have,
it is. I found it. It's
Yep.
a level 2, not a level 1. That's what
worries.
was throwing me off.
All right, so calm emotions. You attempt to suppress strong emotions in a group of people, or in this person. Each humanoid in a 20-foot radius sphere centered on a point you choose must make a charisma saving throw. Oh no.
Oh no.
Casting
18.
that on a paladin too.
Roll low. Roll low.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. All right. Yeah, my aura is probably not helping us here, and this is my highest save. But who knows? Maybe this is the time tonight I will roll low. 18. Sorry.
Dang it.
Das makes the save.
All right.
I also say, whoa, 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 whoa.
Do you have any movement, Devana?
The sun's getting low on the horizon, guy.
Right?
Do you want to make any move, Devana? Do you want to like impose yourself? Do you want to
step-
move around?
Yeah, I step between DOS and the Dragonborn.
Okay.
I cast Calm Emotions, and I will physically kind of do the whoa, 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 whoa gesture.
Okay.
And step between them.
You do note that a lot of people around you just kind of seem to be more relaxed in the establishment itself. But Das, you feel something kind of mess with your head just a little bit. And then you see Devana step in front of you saying, whoa, 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 whoa.
For the moment, I think what Das would try to do is try to move Devana out of the way, not attacking, but just basically, I don't know what the action would be. As his intent is to go straight at what he sees as a draconian.
Okay.
So, how would we do? Would that be like a contested check of me and
Sure.
Devana?
Yeah. That would be, go ahead and give me a strength athletics, and Devana, you can give me a strength athletics or a dexterity acrobatics, your choice.
Go with Strength Athletics.
Sorry, Devana.
It was worth a try.
Das kind of, he doesn't really like push you aside, but he just kind of puts out one of his rather large, massive hands and kind of just on your shoulder, kind of moves you to the side, almost like he's protecting you in a way.
I thought he would just pick her up and move her.
And
Like,
go ahead, Das. So you've
Right.
moved to her side. That would be your action though for that turn.
Yes.
But you still have
Das is on
movement.
it. Yes. So then Das will just walk straight up to the what he sees as a draconian, point his sword directly at its face, and says, "The only reason you are still alive right now is that because I suspect you had something to do with the Dragon Queen's will in bringing me here. Tell me what you know."
Okay.
That's
End of turn for Das. Renly.
Renly has gotten up and does not want to allow any of this to happen. Still doesn't 100% trust Das exactly. And says, whoa, we can de-escalate this situation right now, Swords. I think he tried a little too much of that dwarven fire wine, as it were. So please, Das, stop. And I will look directly at him and cast Hold Person.
Okay.
All right. That is
nice.
a wisdom.
Wisdom.
save. All right. Wisdom.
We never get to go.
That
13.
fails.
All right.
Woohoo.
Yeah.
That fails.
All right. So Das is held in place.
And then, if I can, just with a little bit more talking, say, please, apologies, dear patron. If I may, your dinner and drink will be on me this evening.
Okay. You do note that a lot of the patrons are still fairly calm because of Devana casting the calm emotions. So nothing really major happens as the server does kind of, very, very calm come over, as well as one of the bus boys, as it were, to help pick up the table and such like that. And Das is held there. The Dragonborn kind of looks at the sword in his face and turns and just runs out of the establishment.
Oh, didn't even give me a chance to.
Didn't even cost me any coin.
Sir, do you want me to stop him?
No.
I believe he is stopped now, and being familiar with the spell that I cast, I will walk closer to Das and look up and point my finger at him and say, "Now listen here. You might not be one of the 10 eels yet, but while you are with us, you will not spill any of our drinks."
I thought that sentence would end differently.
Me too.
I knew exactly where it was going.
Now sit down, and then after a very pregnant pause, I'll say, "Please."
Oh, okay. Good call. There we go. Got it.
And I was like, yeah. Like, so why are you so upset by a Dragonborn? They are
First,
nice
real
people.
quick. Das, you're obviously paralyzed from the whole person spell, but you do obviously hear Ridley saying this to you.
Yeah.
What's going to be your thought process? Kind of walk me through what your thought process is.
Well, sort of confusion, frustration, probably at this group for having stopped him from attacking what he perceives to be an obvious enemy.
Yeah, a draconian.
Yeah.
From your
Right,
perspective, exactly.
Yeah. Probably a slight awareness or confusion of how, and once the sort of adrenaline slowly drops down slightly, remembering that he is in a totally different place, that it's a little weird that a draconian could just sort of probably in everyday clothing, not in armor,
Mhm.
not be brutalizing the people here, is just walking around as if it were a commoner. So maybe the briefest of inklings that oh, wait, what? That doesn't kind of compute. But that's
Okay.
probably where his brain's at, right? That's probably where his brain's at right now.
Okay.
Then with Renly's kind of commentary, I mean, he doesn't have a whole lot of. He's aware he doesn't have a whole lot of choice at the moment as he is held in place.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and take us out of combat. I'm going to go ahead and put us back over to our chat screen. And we do have another ad break coming up here very shortly. So we're going to take our last break of the night. Go ahead and refresh your beverages, use the restroom, stretch your legs, grab some snacks, and we will see you on the other side of the ad break. So please stick around. We'll be right back to spend our last half hour of the stream. So stick around. We'll be back shortly. All right, so we are back on this side of the ad break. So, Das, having heard that, so as you mentioned, you're kind of not in a position, that type of position to really do something. You saw the person come in normal clothing. You're in a strange land. You're surrounded by people that kind of have very similar circumstances, not knowing where they're at. And after everything kind of settles down, obviously, Rinley, I'm assuming Rinley, you release the hold person.
It lasts a minute.
Yeah.
I'll let it last that whole minute.
Okay.
And I'll say, so sorry, everyone, to disturb your dinner and meal. But don't worry. And I'll take some of those steel coins off the table and say, it's on us.
Duvana will immediately jump up and gracefully escort Das back to the table.
Okay.
Like straighten up the table, make it all okay for Das.
Sure.
Little too much in his cups, I
And
think.
as I mentioned, with you casting that calm emotions, it's in this radius. So it wasn't Das was the only one affected, and you can see that everyone around's fairly calm about this situation. It didn't start any sort of brawl or anything of that nature. But
Except for that poor Dragonborn who is still probably running down the street.
with a little bit of dampness in his britches.
A yellow trail along the cobblestone.
I say, Das, you really scared him off. Come on back. Let's enjoy our meal. I just try to gloss it all over.
Mm-hmm. But something might be kind of weighing on the rest of you, the 10 eels, is like, why did Das react in that manner?
Oh, I definitely want to know why he reacted in that manner. I'm like, why did you threaten that poor man? I'm assuming it was a man.
Why would that first of all, it's not a man. That is not even a normal creature. That is an abomination created out of dark magics, playing with the eggs of metallic dragons on behalf of the Dragon Queen. That is a creature of evil created for no purpose but to enslave the rest of the world underneath the Dragon Queen's will. So why did you stop me from destroying said creature, except for the fact that they blow up terribly and make messes everywhere, like kind of turn you to stone?
I don't know what you're talking about exactly.
Duvana will reach out her hand and put it on Das's arm very comfortingly and say, we understood the words that you said, but they didn't make any sense to us. What is this Dragon Queen? Explain to us a little bit more, because we don't understand.
Well, where I'm from, those creatures are evil. And Das will basically, for the purposes of our audience, I don't need to go through the entire history of Dragonlance but Das will explain to groups of basically like what Draconians are in Kryn, and how they kind of come about. So this group kind of understands what he's experienced when he sees such a creature in his world.
Everyone else, do me a favor and give me a history or religion check, if you would.
History.
Blink. Well, it's fitting.
Well, I don't have that guidance anymore, so ignore the 3, but 20.
I haven't cast guidance on anybody else, so Minerva, I think you would have it.
Yeah, Minerva, he's talking about one of the betrayer gods. He's talking about Takesis.
Okay, well, but Dragonborn don't have anything to do with that.
I'm sorry, he's talking about Tiamat. My apologies.
Tiamat,
Tiamat, yeah, Tiamat.
Well, yeah, and I think it's still, I don't know if it's Tiamat in Exandria.
Yes, it is. Wild Mount, she is one of the. Tiamat is the dragon god of evil. She is one of the betrayer gods.
I'm like, okay, I get what you're talking about with the gods, but Dragonborn don't really have anything to do with that.
I don't follow. They are the creations of the Dragon Queen by her very betrayal of the oath that she swore at the Great Compact of the Dragons, the non-aggression treaty that they made. You don't.
Okay.
The looks on your faces do not indicate that. As I explain more, it helps clear things up.
Listen, Das, between you and the Dragon Queen, this alleged Dragon Queen, only one of you has spilled my drink and ruined my souvenir cup.
Well, Link, the Dragon Queen, when she arrives, will spill more than your drink. So,
Okay. Das, you have a thing with this Dragon Queen. We don't fully understand it. I think that's fair to say. But let's follow me on this trail.
Well,
here.
hold on, real quick. With the 12 history from Renly, from Agnoth, and the 13 from Divana, you guys also understand that what he's describing from his world is Tiamat, a betrayer
Yeah.
god in your world.
Yeah. But this wide-reaching dragon army that is putting everybody at risk. I can say it's like, you know, you're talking about something where you come from. Where we come from, that is, I'll just say, not the case. Okay? But also, we're not where either of us come from. Where any of us come from. And we need to learn the rules this place.
Exactly.
Or you're going to spill a lot more drinks.
And as far as I know, they are definitely not inherently evil. I mean, I've treated with many who are very honorable, good tradesmen, sailors, etc.
fair enough. I've also noticed, I've seen very few to no other Minotaurs here, but I've seen lots of what look like to be people with horns on their heads, and that is not a normal thing. So I don't, and they have very
Yes.
strange.
Wait until Nazi's a half.
Tieflings.
Yes, and tieflings, what do you call them? And also, your Kender are very weird and round. But
Why are their feet hairy?
yeah. However,
Ivana tries to hide her tail.
I will accept the point for the moment that maybe this place is slightly different, and I will not kill every draconian I see. But it is all the more reason that I am desperately needed to help lead the armies back home.
Yes. Yeah,
And
I think that it would be a good rule of thumb that unless somebody does something threatening to you or, you know, somebody you care about, like maybe not draw your sword.
And I when you mentioned that, Minerva, you know, kind of, you know, not necessarily talking as loud as you are, obviously, in the stream, but, you know, kind of in hushed tones around your table. Shortly after, Elsa does come back with your meals. She is accompanied by one of the cooks with another tray, bringing everything out. And she kind of looks around and says, "Is everything okay?"
I think we're doing all right now.
Excellent.
I think we're calmed down.
And she looks to Renly and says, would you care for anything? I did note that we spilt some of the drinks was spilt. I'm not sure how that happened. Obviously, some of the magic from Divana, but she does have some more drinks brought out and says, "Are you not drinking the same as your sister?" She's looking right at you, Blink.
She has a more expensive taste than I do. And I look at Sir because I already spent my allowance on souvenir mugs.
Divana will buy him a Dwarven fire wine.
Okay. She does lean down to you, Divana, and says, "Is something wrong with your sister? She seems to have a frog in her throat."
She's not. Divana sort of makes the crazy symbol in her head. It's not all there. I just take good care of her.
Touched by Siric, is she? I see. And she nods and says, "Well, yes, enjoy your meals and drinks, and when you're finished, your rooms shall be prepared. We do have a common room. Assumed that you might want to stay together. We do have a small common room that you have access to as well. And of
That'd
course,
be nice.
we can deliver your morning meal there if you wish. Just pull the string, the rope in your master chambers. I'm assuming that is where you're staying." And she looks to Captain.
Yes, yes. We have our rooms. We will be staying here. We're going to venture out into Neverwinter and run a couple of more errands before retiring for the evening. But we shall eventually find our way back to our rooms.
And you actually do hear, when you say that, kind of glancing back outside, with the discussion of the maps, the incident with the Dragonborn, kind of hearing what was going on with the other patrons and such like that, your drinks, your meal, and everything of that nature. By the time you're finished up with your meal, looking outside, you do note that it is well past evening and into night. And you do hear the sound of it ringing, the ringing bells throughout the city.
Maybe we can take care of that tomorrow, Renly.
Does this seem to be alarm bells or just typical like 10 o'clock bells?
Actually, about 10 o'clock bells. And you do see some of the patrons all starting to, chat with one another. People start mingling out and such like that. And someone says, "Well, 10 bells in the evening. Time to head home. Work in the morning." And you hear a few people chatting about that. You see some people speaking with some of the servers and excusing themselves, heading upstairs, things of that nature. You see a lot of the cooks and such like that coming up and cleaning up the tables and busting the tables and things along those lines as well.
Well, 10 o'clock, and nothing's well.
Wait, wasn't the furry guy going to go to the library there, Captain?
It's closed
I don't-
for the night, Blink. It's closed.
Tomorrow.
We'll have to venture out on another new day. I don't know why, but I just had this thought. I really hope we wake up in the same place we are now, if not back home. And I hope we don't find ourselves in a new place every day.
Oh, yeah. That would be really difficult to get used to.
So everyone's had a little bit to drink. Dust, do you drink at all any alcohol, or do you just drink non-alcoholic beverages as a night of Solange?
People usually have a cider or such.
Okay.
Knights are allowed to have wine on like occasions where they're not battling, but
Sure.
he will have a cider for this evening.
Sure. Making your way up, finishing your meals and such like that, the server does come back with room keys for everyone, and does have one of the busboys, as it were, kind of escort you up the stairs to some of the different halls and stuff like that where the quarters are. And you do have a small little sectioned off, not really a suite, but you do have a section where there is a common room, and there are total of 4 rooms for you as well. There's enough. There's a space for Das to have a room by himself, as he had mentioned earlier. Someone else can take a single room, Agnoth, if that would want to be you. That's fine. If
Sounds like it.
If Devana and Minerva want to bunk together, and then obviously Captain
sure.
and Blink. But
Actually,
go ahead.
Devana will gather as many pillows and blankets as she can into the common room and cast Liamon's tiny hut.
And go camping.
Anybody who wants to have a little bit of safety to come into Liamon's tiny hut.
Okay, no problem. So what do you want to chat about that? First of all, who wants to join Devana in the Liamon's tiny hut?
Well, I'm going to keep my own room. I like it.
Okay.
Sir, I think you should go with her.
Das will join her for a period of just like, for lack of a better phrase, like what he would consider it appearing to be indulging her and sort of like camping briefly, but mostly just sort of as his attempt at sort of a little bit of a détente.
Sure.
But it's more like, oh hey, let's have a camp out and make marshmallows, and then he'll go back to his room.
Gotcha. So, Brinley or Blink, what are you going to do? Are you going to join Agnoth? What are you going to do?
I think Renly's a little scared of losing these folks if they go crazy traveling again. I think it's a good night for camping.
Okay.
So it sounds like Rinley, Blink, and Devana in Liam's tiny hut in
And
the
DOS
common room.
and DOS for a little bit. Yeah.
And DOS for a little bit, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, no, if DOS leaves, I'm leaving to go with DOS unless he kicks me out of his platinum room. I don't trust that guy. He flew off the handle in the bar.
But no, what I was going to say is that, well, like when you're sitting there, Minerva and Agnoth, if you want to head back to your rooms and such like that, but there's opportunity for you to discuss where you're from, what things are like, how things are different from where you're at. Being that you're all in this peculiar situation, you spent the half a day, each one of you, being in a different location, not more than 12 or 13 hours ago from the amount of time you feel that you've been here, to bam, being completely in a brand new, different place, completely unknown. You've gotten a bit of information of where you're at. City called Neverwinter, not the Netherdeep. Definitely not the wastes, the northern waste north of Calaman. And somehow you've gotten here and you're not sure why. Anything you'd like to discuss in that short time before bedding down for the eve?
As another element of sort of like of peacemaking, Das, having realized that he had to share a bunch of where he was from to sort of explain the context here, doesn't know anything about this land that these folks describe that they're from. We'll ask them questions of who they are, but also where they came from and what they were doing beforehand.
Sure.
As we get more comfortable with each other, Devana will share the dream and say, this was a long time ago. It was just a dream, but you seem so familiar. And she will try to forge that bond, and will try to make it okay for Blink. I think Renly's trying to, as always, be the diplomat, and he's trying to be very, good about everything. But Devana will, on an emotional level, try to forge a bond between Blink and Das, and try to make Blink remember this dream, and see if she can get Blink to soften a little to Das.
Okay. So give me, first of all, Devana, give me a persuasion check, but use your wisdom instead of your charisma, if you would, please. Yes.
Okay.
Trying to be the mother hen, trying to get everything together, as you mentioned earlier.
So could I do an insight check?
Sure. Go ahead and give me an
try to do
insight
that?
instead. Yeah, it'll be pretty much the same. Okay. So everyone that is there, I think Agnoth, you said you were going to your room, or you were with him?
If the others are out there for a little while longer, I might just, at least join them to wrap up the conversation for the night before heading off to bed.
Okay, so Das, Brinley, Blink, and Agnoth, go ahead, and since Minerva had went back to the room, Minerva already does remember the dream fairly distinctly. So Das, Brinley, Blink, and Agnoth, go ahead and give me give me insight or history, your choice at advantage.
Insight.
Oof, Agnoth. Das and Renly, you do start to recall this dream that you had. And Das, for you, you do remember that you shared it with your companions while you were in the waste. Actually, I think you might have been just coming out of the village of Vogler when you had this dream. Your companions didn't remember what it was, but these people seemed to know and remember that dream. Rinley as well. You recall the things that Devon is describing to you. And did we lose someone else in our stream there?
Yeah, Minerva had a glitch.
Oh, gotcha. I was looking.
Yeah,
I was like,
I think she
everything's
dropped.
just off.
Yeah.
You recall going through some sort of catacombs or something like that. Agnoth, you know you were there. You know you were there. You recall, starting to recall these images coming to your mind vividly. But again, you weren't yourself. You felt like
the weirdest dream, but there you are.
it felt like a piece of your soul was there, but you weren't you. And coming through your mind, you just start hearing. What languages does Agnoth speak, by the way?
Ooh, let's see. I have this written down. It would be Common and Elvish and Null.
Add another language to Agnoth's languages, please. As you recall a lot of your thoughts in the dream, speaking to yourself in Dwarvish.
Ooh.
So I need to do this properly.
And after a little bit of discussing the dream, a little bit about where you're from, where the captain and the 10 eels are from, and Das listening in to get this, all have a feeling that something, whatever it is, whether you are able to find your way home or find your way here, wherever you're at, and the path forward, you do all feel that it is something that you'll have to take this journey together. And with that, you're able to bed down for the night. Some of you in the tiny hut, some of you going back to your rooms. And that is where we will end the session for tonight for episode 1 of Vecna Eve of Ruin. A lot of fun, everyone.
Ooh.
It'll be interesting.
And,
Yeah.
Stranger in a strange land.
right? And I like that Blink applauds the non-ALness. Very cool. All right. Well, thanks. Of course. Does anyone have anything to say before we say our goodbyes for the evening?
Thank you, Mitch.
Well,
Yep.
thank you all
Great.
very much. So very fun thing, and hopefully, obviously, Das coming in was the odd man out kind of in the situation, but we had a lot of great interaction tonight. Very organic with the characters, which is really, really cool. I think it's going to be a very, very fun session coming up. Again, our next session is going to be Tuesday, June 11th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, right here. We do have another stream tomorrow night. We do have our Around the Campfires Mondays. A Walk Amongst the Plains tomorrow evening. We will be off on Thursday and Friday. We'll be back on Sunday for episode 21 of Fandelver and Below the Shattered Obelisk. Again, thanks to our players tonight. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Of course, thanks to all you watching tonight. Thanks to all of our supporters, especially our patrons from Patreon. If you'd like to help support the channel, please consider becoming a patron or subbing here on Twitch, twitch.tv/themasterofdungeons. We do love your Prime subs as well. Of course, the link to our Patreon page, as well as our YouTube channel, and all of our social media accounts can be found in the About Us section below here on Twitch. If you would subscribe to us on YouTube, it is free. We will have this episode coming up on YouTube again. If you'd like to watch it, it is on video on demand here on Twitch, but we'll be up in the next couple of weeks on the YouTube channel as well. If you would like, comment, share the videos, all that will help us get through the algorithm and such like that, build us up to let other people see our shows as well. If you would follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, give us some likes, retweets, all of that good stuff. Every sub, like, and share helps us immensely. If you want, you can also chat with us by joining, clicking on the About Us section and clicking on the Discord panel to join the Master of Dungeons community Discord server, where you can help shape an accepting, caring, and inclusive D&D community. The merch store is also open. We did put up a couple of things last week in there from the stream, so check that out. Anything you purchase from the merch store will definitely directly help support the channel as well. But thanks for watching tonight. Have a great rest of your week. And hopefully we'll talk to you soon. So until then, take care and happy adventuring.